Good evening and welcome to viewers right around the country. Saturday night footy coming your way live from Carrara. It's a home game for the Kangaroos, going through their paces in the rooms. The first of 10 home games for them over the next 3 years here on the Gold Coast. They'll play host to the Brisbane Lions. Well, Lee Matthews hasn't been thrilled about the Kangaroos coming north, but I tell you what, he won't be whinging too much about this as an away match. 45 minutes drive down the road. Alistair Lynch, what would Lee Matthews be benefiting from by doing anything but laying out the welcome mat for the Kangaroos?
Oh, yes, that's right. It was a big call. It was a great quote. But I think what he was trying to say was basically it's not a local derby just as yet. But the Brisbane Lions have been in very good touch and certainly were just run over the top by the Sydney Swans last week. But they've been in good nick.
They have. Let's take a look at how the two sides are going to line up. And that could be one of the matchups that decides the game. Drew Petrie and Jonathan Brown.
Yeah, I mean, they've talked about Ferrito maybe an option for Brown as well, but Drew Petrie is the obvious choice to start with.
Joel Patfull's an interesting one. We've seen a bit of him. He shows a lot of potential, like a number of the Brisbane Lions that we haven't seen too much of, I guess.
Yep, each week he pops up with a very good contested mark. He's been a very valuable option across centre-half forward without Daniel Bradshaw mainly not being there, but he's working into his game very well.
They'll need all of their experience. We saw Simpson, we saw Grant, Harris and Rawlings. They'll all play important roles.
Yeah, have to play important roles. They're coming up against Simon Black and Luke Power, who are in fantastic form.
The move of Jared Brennan to centre-half back, he's settled in there beautifully. Adcock and Copeland playing tremendous supporting roles.
And it'll be handy to have Glenn Archer for the Kangaroos just wanting to run half forward. I'm sure he'll put an effect on the game.
Lee Brown, a player that can be used at either end, and Brent Harvey, so important to the Kangaroos' chances as well.
Yeah, it would be a great contest down there. Brown on Merritt, two very big, powerful guys going at it very hard, I would think.
Well, the Brisbane Lions preparing to enter the arena, and I tell you what, they are travelling pretty nicely at 2-1. The only loss for the Lions has been, as you mentioned, the Sydney Swans, so their form is very, very good. And there's a lot to like about their chances tonight, isn't there?
Yeah, certainly. Their youngsters have played extremely well. They set themselves last week to take on the Sydney Swans, and I think although they didn't get the 4 points, they'd come out of that with a lot of confidence. They mixed it with the best in the competition at the one-on-one footy, and I think their youngsters will play tonight with a lot of confidence from that result.
Well, they are in the tunnel, about to head out onto the ground. You might have noticed when you were looking at the lineups, no Nigel Lappin. Well, let's find out why. Lee Colbert caught up with Lee Matthews a few moments ago.
It's great to be playing an away game 30 minutes away from your home ground.
Yeah, no, it certainly gives us the advantage when we only have to sort of come down the highway a little bit, so that's good from our point of view.
Nearly got run over there, mate. But Ben Fixter playing his 50th game tonight, a great effort.
Well, he has. He missed so much footy with the Swans when he sort of just couldn't get uninjured. And he's had a pretty uninjured run. Our medical conditioning staff have done a really good job with him, and he's been a really solid player for us, so it's good to see him reach that 50.
And also Matthew Moody not playing in the early games, he had a chance to come into your team.
Yeah, Nigel Lappin, we didn't quite come up. That quad issue was sort of just still troubling him enough that we couldn't play him tonight, so Matthew Moody will replace him.
All the very best for this evening.
Thanks, Lee.
No Nigel Lappin, the quad injury keeping him out, but the Lions coming out onto the arena. A lot of young players that are starting to get a bit of experience under their belt, and they look like they've snuck under our guard. They're a little bit further advanced than a lot of people gave them credit for, Lynch.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's guys that have played 2 or 3 years of AFL football now. Probably they got their games a little bit early, but with those games under their belt now, the experience has been valuable. Look at their defence. I think that's something everyone thought was going to be vulnerable, but with the midfield pressure and the defensive structures the Lions have put in place, it's certainly helped the Lions' defence out.
Now, most opposition teams would suggest that if you can stop Jonathan Brown, you'll go a long way towards beating the Brisbane Lions.
And that wouldn't be a bad thing to think of, I wouldn't think. But Jonathan Brown started off last week in electric form at the SCG, kicked 3 goals on Craig Bolton, which was a very good contest. Bolts obviously came back and played very well for the latter part of the game, but just see the strength and talent of this guy. The good thing, he started off the year pretty well. I mean, didn't play since June last year or July last year. A lot of stress-related injuries, but Jonathan Brown, especially here, see the way he's been able to move, and certainly when he had the osteitis, the pelvis and back problems, that's something he couldn't do. So it's a ominous sign for opposition teams when they come and meet the Brisbane Lions that Jonathan Brown is moving very well.
We think of him as a traditional centre-half forward, but I think from a Brisbane perspective, they like to see him play a little bit closer to home now, probably halfway between centre-half forward and full forward.
Yeah, I think with Jonathan Brown and with the training he's been able to do over the summer, he probably hasn't been able to do as much running as he wants, so he's going to stay close to goal. And if he marks the ball inside 50, there's a fair chance of kicking a goal.
Some unsung heroes for the Lions as well. We heard Lee Matthews talking about Ben Fixter playing his 50th match. It's the sort of guy that just does a terrific job each week.
Got a second chance after a number of years at the Sydney Swans, frustrated with injury, and has been outstanding, especially last year when the Lions were a bit undermanned. He was able to do a job in the midfield.
I like this guy, Scott Harding. He has got toe, he's got confidence, and I'm yet to actually see someone lay an effective tackle on him.
He's got an enormous amount of pace. He'll come on and off the ground throughout the day as the rotations go, but his pace is electrifying. That's why he came off the rookie list this time last year.
They'll certainly have their confidence up. 8 tackles last week for Ben Fixter. Well, one of the keys to the Lions game has been smothering opposition sides. Tackle's a big part of it. Here come the Kangaroos. Adam Simpson leading them out onto the ground. Glenn Archer, great to see him back there in the Kangaroos outfit. We saw Daniel Wells there as well. So many keys here, but basically from a Kangaroos perspective, they need nearly everything to go right, don't they?
They certainly do. I mean, Glenn Archer, 292nd game, goes along Anthony Stevens, I think 3rd on the list as far as games record holder for the Kangaroos is concerned. He's going to be an important factor, just that if he plays in the forward line, that pressure to hold the ball in, and that's where the Kangaroos, when they get their forward 50 entries, they've got to hold the ball in for a number of minutes and give themselves multiple chances to get a shot on goal. But they need the experienced players to stand up.
At 0-3, I dare say, Kangaroos coach Dean Laidley feels like a man under siege. So much speculation about what's happening off-field as well. And is it starting to affect the players? Well, Lee Colbert caught up with him a few minutes ago.
Nice to be back playing footy, Dean, after a big week off the field.
Yeah, it is, and that's what it's all about. And you know, we're really looking forward to a positive result tonight.
And Blake Grimmer back in the side. He's had an injury-interrupted couple of seasons, but great for him.
Oh, look, it has. You know, he went down with the shoulder reconstruction in round 5, 2005, and we've been pretty patient with him. And look, he's had a great pre-season, and he gets his chance tonight. So, you know, probably play about 60% of the game, and you know, give some support to the guys through the midfield. So, look, our expectations aren't too high for him tonight, but it's a wonderful story from a kid that, you know, it's been to hell and back.
All the very best, mate, and enjoy the night.
No worries, thanks, mate.
Probably relieved that the football's about to start, I suggest, and he can focus on what he does best. There's Blake Grimmer. And what a great story. We do love the feel-good stories in footy. A kid that's battled injury, and now he gets a chance to show his wares.
Yeah, been on the list for 5 years, hasn't played for 2 years, basically. So his benefit will get him minutes in the legs tonight, and hopefully later in the year we'll be playing some great footy.
The loss of Nathan Thompson has left a void that the Kangaroos can't fill. But Aaron Edwards, I think, has shown enough over the last couple of weeks that he might be able to contribute up forward. He looks like your traditional leading type of forward.
Yeah, I think full forward is one of those specialised positions, and he looks like he leads very strong. He's got a big, mature body and obviously a very good kick. So he'll be an option up forward. He'll need to kick a couple of goals to give them a real focus, which lifts the confidence of the midfield to be able to go to him as well.
Yeah, 100 goals in the VFL last year, formerly on West Coast list, but trying to make a name for himself with the Kangaroos. Boy, do they need him tonight. A lot of talk in recent weeks also about Daniel Wells, a guy that, you know, for years we've said he's exciting, he can do all sorts of things, but they're questioning his consistency. Yeah,
consistency is the issue with Daniel Wells. A lot of pressure. He's still only a young player, realistically. He just hasn't got the support around him from mature players, or enough mature players. So he's got to be one of the guys to step up. He's going to have to sort of play above his years, really, and lead from the front. And very important for the Kangaroos that this man is playing very good footy all year.
Desperation stakes for the Kangaroos. The Brisbane Lions trying to get to 3-1. Will have the first bounce after the break. And who knows, they may just put on the sort of finish we saw way back in 2003, round 3. What a beauty that was.
What a match it's been. 1 point the difference. The Kangaroos in front against the reigning premiers. Here they go. Scott to half forward. Can someone take a mark? No, they can't. Black gets the handball. Michael Voss. It'll be a tie. It will be a draw. Did he kick it? Is it all clear? I'm sure he did. It's up to the umpires. It's a behind. It's a draw. Yes.
Welcome back to Carrara. A beautiful looking evening. Some showers had been forecast, but it certainly doesn't look like that's going to be the case. The Kangaroos, you can only imagine the sort of emotions running through their heads. So much speculation off field about their future. They're desperate for a win. They've had chances over the last couple of weeks, but no joy. The Brisbane Lions, well, they're not worried about anything other than trying to cement a pretty good start to the season. If they can get to 3-1, that would probably be above expectations as far as that goes. Calling the action tonight, John Casey. And Case, it's fair to say a hell of a lot at stake tonight in what a lot of people probably look at and think, no, I don't know if it's going to be much of a game.
That's right, Chase. Good evening, everyone. Really looking forward to this match. Important for the Kangaroos to get off to a good start. They've won every first quarter so far this season, but they're up against the best defensive team in the competition. The Brisbane Lions have conceded only 26 goals in 3 games. Carlton have conceded 56, and 1 in 5 entries into the 50 is when they concede a goal.
Yep.
They are very good at the back, and the Kangaroos don't have a lot of goal kickers, and they're going to find it tough tonight. But Lee Colbert down on the boundary line, certainly a great night for football.
It is indeed, John. Thank you very much. It's a beautiful night down here, 23 and clear, although forecast showers a little bit later. Interesting the way things are done up here on the Gold Coast. We had a tug of war before the game, and the Brisbane Lions actually got over the line. Back to you, men.
It could be a tug of war tonight, I reckon.
It could well be. And we're reliably informed that every seat here at Carrara has been sold. We're expecting a crowd in excess of 10,000. Kangaroos historically have played well here, won 3 out of 4, and won here 8 weeks ago against Collingwood in the first round of the NAB Cup when they towed the Magpies by 51 points. And they'll be hoping for some sort of support from the fans here. Great atmosphere, and I've seen in the crowd already everything from a West Coast Eagles jumper to a Port Adelaide jumper, Essendon, Carlton, along with the Kangaroos and the Brisbane Lions. The people here on the Gold Coast, Alistair, and you would know better than most, have embraced this.
They certainly enjoy football, and it's great to have football on the Gold Coast. And as we see there on screen, Jamie Charman, one of the inclusions into the Brisbane Lions side, and that is a real bonus for the Lions. Bo McDonald's been doing a very good job with Cameron Wood, but to bring Charman in is a massive plus. And there's the group that has been so stingy over this season so far. The back line led by Daniel Merritt, a raw, big athlete who's just really grabbed full back with both hands and playing good footy.
And you mentioned earlier that you thought Farito might get the job on Jonathan Brown. He has gone straight there.
Well,
Drew Petrie is going forward for the Kangaroos.
Interesting contest. I mean, gives away a fair bit of size. Jonathan Brown is starting up around the forward 50 mark. He will spend a lot of time deeper in the forward line as he just looks as though he's wandering back to the goal square now. And Brisbane Lions have pushed all their forwards up. And it'll be a lonely little time down there for Farito if there's plenty of space around Brown.
Underway from Carrara, and the Kangaroos working to the right of your screen to the southern end into their forward 50 initially. Touched off the boot, told to play on, and a free kick already for the Brisbane Lions.
Another inclusion into the side. Jason Rowe had a hamstring problem for the last 2 weeks, but very good play across half-back.
Charman getting an early touch. Now they work it wide. Hadley looking in the Jonathan Brown direction, has 2 to beat. Archer coming in with the help. That's good work from Ashley McGrath, keeping the ball in the 50 for the Brisbane Lions.
They do give you an inordinate amount of time now for the ball to actually come out of a ruck that's formed, and they just wait for someone to drag the ball out. So you've got to just keep on your game all the time. You can't relax and think there's going to be a ball up.
McIntosh with the second attempt, works it toward the boundary line. And a free kick has been awarded to the Brisbane Lions. Johnson centres the ball. Looking for Jonathan Brown. Got Farito out of the equation. Now he's got his hands full. Ball shovelled forward in the direction of Adam Simpson. Comes back now.
Fine. Tim, careful you don't do the spear tackle. Thanks, mate.
And a good contest there. Chris Johnson just couldn't quite get Jonathan Brown on the lead.
Archer with a clearing kick. Matt Stevick, Chris Camillins and Kieran Nichols, our umpires for this one. So they work the ball to the western side of Carrara. And Lindsay Thomas unable to keep it alive for the Kangaroos.
It's interesting just watching that first lead from Jonathan Brown. He broke away with a bit of strength from Michael Farito, but Farito actually had him for pace, and he picked him up by the time the ball had arrived.
McIntosh goes down. Free kick is going to be awarded.
And he's not always the most subtle man, Jamie Charman, is he? Oh, he's a ripper. I'd love to have him in my side. I reckon he's brilliant, but he just lacks subtlety at times.
He's a full season away from All-Australian, basically.
Good contest in the middle of the ground. Kangaroos turning the ball over and then getting another opportunity. High into the forward line. Plenty of Lions around the ball. This is Copeland. Corey Jones now for the Kangaroos. shoved off the ball. Good strong work on that occasion coming from Adcock. Wells, Rishatelli comes in, throws it onto the boot, gains some meterage, but Hamish McIntosh goes over to Adam Simpson. Opportunity now for the Kangaroos. It's Thomas. Couldn't control it. Now Luke Power breaks for the Lions. Jonathan Brown wrestling with Ferrito. Ferrito goes down. And a free kick awarded to Jonathan Brown. Only one teammate inside the forward 50 for the Brisbane Lions. It's Johnson. He's taken out of the equation by the experienced Glenn Archer. Good second effort from both players, and the ball trickles over the line.
What a great contest. Two experienced players, both superstars of their own era. But I don't think the Kangaroos will be too disturbed to see Jonathan Brown pushing up to centre wing to get his possessions.
McIntosh again with his palm on the ball, but Jonathan Brown scoops it up. Black goes to Ashley McGrath. Tucked on in on the boundary line, has to go with a non-preferred right foot. Here's the 50-gamer. Ben Fixter looking to celebrate, gets it over. That's a minus score for the Brisbane Lions.
As expected, Brady Rawlings has the job on Simon Black.
Kangaroos look to clear to centre wing. Harvey couldn't handle it. Sherman with clean hands goes to Notting, has a man available. Fixed up, handball over to Simon Black from 40 and closing. He's off the money. It's another minus score for Brisbane.
Well, he got off the hook there, Brady Rawlings, because he was the one that turned it over coming out of defence, and lo and behold, when you do that, it comes back the other way pretty quick, and it ended up in the hands of his direct opponent in Simon Black, who just couldn't finish.
And the Kangaroos just can't afford to have those easy turnovers early. They're going to have the confidence to try to run out early in the game, but you turn a few over and get hurt on the way back, you certainly stop your run.
Glenn Archer restarts for the Kangaroos to the eastern side of the Gold Coast Stadium. Trying to work the ball free, and now they do. Jess Sinclair gets it onto the boot quickly. Shannon Grant at centre wing takes a timely mark for the Kangaroos. Corey Jones available. He heads in that direction. Good lead from Jones.
Just got away on Jared Brennan.
Lost Brennan in the traffic. Lee Brown leads, but Jones is going sideways.
Charman and Adcock and Tim Notting have flooded back into the defensive 50 for the Lions. It's very hard to find a target.
Shannon Grant, pinpoint pass, and he finds Lindsay Thomas out on the lead. Now, Lindsay Thomas kicked 4 goals here at Carrara in the first round of the NAB Cup against Collingwood.
And that was a very good pass in heavy traffic. This is the start the Kangaroos need to get a shot on goal and convert their opportunities when they do get a chance, because that is going to be the struggle from set shots inside 50 to kick goals.
Only 1 goal so far this season. It came against Port Adelaide in round number 2. The youngest man on the field, 19-year-old Lindsay Thomas with a left boot. Looks good, looks strong. He gets the opening goal, and the Kangaroos arrive on the Gold Coast.
I tell you what, it wasn't a bad little celebration either, was it? Did you see the hands just saying, come on, where's the attention? It's a great start for him. They've got a couple of exciting young players like Lindsay Thomas, also Matt Campbell. They're proven goal kickers, very sharp around goal. This is a beautiful kick from right on 50. Just arcs out a little like most left footers do. But have a look at the hands after he's kicked it. There it is. A little wave of the fingers, and how good's this?
Well, good start, Lindsay Thomas. And you don't mind the guys expressing themselves when they're on top of the game. Probably going to have a look at that forward for Hawthorn, maybe.
Jarman gets the tap. Brisbane working hard. Simon Black unable to find a way through the traffic, and will restart. Good body work from Jarman. Edged his opponent McIntosh out of the equation. Copeland had problems. This is Hadley with a low hand pass, ill-directed. Simpson found Tim Notting. He gets it away to Jarman. Dances around. Shannon Watt goes deep. Front position there. Held by the Kangaroos. So Michael Ferrito will be happy to rush the ball over the line.
He did well. Daniel Pratt, he's got the job on McGrath, who's extremely dangerous, operating alongside Jonathan Brown out of the square, and just used a strong body to take front position.
Let's get down to Lee Colbert on the boundary line.
Drew Petrie's finding himself at full forward, normally the full back the last 12 months, so no matchup for him with Ferrito going to Jonathan Brown.
Daniel Harris goes to Wells, promising build-up from the Kangaroos. Lindsay Thomas has Sherman to beat. Nice recovery there from Adcock, sliding in, but the Kangaroos stay with it. Thomas bangs the ball up to the half-forward line. Petrie leaves it. Here's Brown. This is Lee Brown from the Kangaroos, and they have kicked 2 in 90 seconds.
Very good start now for the Kangaroos, and I suppose the concern from the Brisbane Lions is how they've exactly come off a very hot game against the Sydney Swans, where the big bodies of the Swans players may have taken their toll on the Lions, but there's no taking anything away from the Kangaroos here. Good contest, and Lee Brown probably not what he normally does, but a good crumb and snap around the body. So there's some experienced players for the Kangaroos who've got some hands on the ball, which is great for a start.
Enterprising start to the match. We've played 8.5 minutes, and the Kangaroos looking to maintain a perfect record in terms of winning the opening quarter in their matches so far this season. McIntosh gets the tap, but it was sharked by Simon Black. Advantage is paid. Chris Scott out on a long lead. Going to Jonathan Brown again. Has the front seat against Ferrito. Marked strongly, and from 45 can go back and look at his first goal of the night.
Great kick from Chris Johnson, just finding the leading Jonathan Brown. A couple of those other on-ball matchups while he's lining up. Looks like Justin Sherman's got the job of going with Brent Harvey. Riscatelli and Grant going together. Richard Hadley following Daniel Wells, and Sinclair's got the job on Luke Powell.
Got about 4 metres, Brownie.
Well, Jonathan Brown kicked 3 last week against the Sydney Swans. He kicked 8 and picked up 3 Brownlow votes when the Lions played against Hawthorn here at Carrara in round 6 last season. From the 50, Jonathan Brown has hooked it to the near side.
He just pulled that one, but once again, he's pushing well up the field, leaving McGrath to pump the short leads out of the goal square.
Kangaroos mixing and matching down in terms of the kickouts.
Oh, getting themselves in trouble here. Look out.
Certainly some problems for them. Gibson gets back to clean up. Now he's got Brady Rawlings available, working around the boundary line. To a contest. Harris couldn't mark it under pressure. Simon Black, usually good disposal, hits Jonathan Brown on the chest, and he will shoot from 45.
Well, kick-outs after a behind has been scored has become one of the most important transitions of possession in the game, because the opposition normally sets up a zone. What that means is if you turn it over, there are dozens of players loose in space, and they were queuing up to get on the end of this one. If it wasn't Brown, Powell was standing right behind him waiting for it. You just have to hit the target with your kick-outs.
Kick goals in each of the 3 games so far this season. Jonathan Brown looking for the Lions first tonight again. He's pulled it to the left-hand side.
Such a very good kick normally. Unusual for him to pull those, but out around the 50 mark, so they are tough kicks.
Kangaroos look to centre wing. Brent Harvey gets away from his opponent. Little too nimble for Sherman, then overran the ball. Daniel Wells comes across, but he too went without it. Sharman to Sherman. Nice hands as they get Adcock involved. He's looking for Ash McGrath. Turns around, only one teammate ahead of him. And that's Chris Scott. Or Johnson it is. 2 to beat. Joining in, nice work from Patfull. Hands over. And the first goal for the Brisbane Lions comes from the boot of Simon Black.
And Simon Black would be very happy. He got away from Brett Kirk after last week. It was a big contest, and he's had his hand on the ball 5 times already in this first quarter. Chris Johnson provided the contest, but very good hands there over to Black. And as we so often see with Simon Black, his skills are very, very good.
A bit of class involved there. Joel Patfull, the clean pickup and handball was brilliant.
Simon Black gets the first goal for Brisbane after they had registered 5 consecutive behinds, but it's the Kangaroos who lead by a point. A little over 12 minutes played here in the first term. Onto the ground, Scott Harding having an immediate impact to Jonathan Brown. Went one-handed, couldn't control it. Kangaroos will look to get it out of defence through Daniel Pratt, and they've got numbers around the ball now. Excellent skills from Hamish McIntosh. He works it up the field. Now it's Shannon White with options. Petrie, a little too deep for him. And the ball will trickle out of bounds in the forward pocket.
And that clean takeaway from the centre bounce. Scott Harding's got enormous pace, just unable to hit the target, but already good signs for the Brisbane Lions. Brown, Black, Hadley, Power, some of their big names have got their hand on the ball plenty of times.
Cameron Wood, who started on the interchange bench, is onto the field as well. Petrie did well for the Kangaroos. Loose ball, Black there. Here's Brown for the Kangaroos, retreating to Shannon White. Couldn't handle it. Loose ball. Corey Jones appeared to be taken high there. That's the call from the umpire. Now, the Brisbane Lions have not conceded a goal from a free kick so far this season.
Well, they're going to put that stat to the test, aren't they? The most important thing from a Kangaroos perspective is they have to take every opportunity presented them. The Lions have missed a couple of gilt-edged opportunities. Jonathan Brown missed 2 that you would normally pencil him in for. So they find themselves in the lead, even though they've had 4 less scoring shots. Just important that players like Corey Jones, even though it's a tough shot for goal, they've got to make the most of these.
Kick 4 against Port Adelaide in round 2. He's kicked goals in each of his 3 matches so far. He likes it off the boot. And Corey Jones from Witchy-proof, population 750, bangs on the goal for the Kangaroos.
In case you can say goodbye to that stat, they have now conceded a goal from a free kick. And Corey Jones, he's a terrific player to have in your team because he's good in the air, he's good at ground level, he's one of those roving, marking, goal-kicking half-forward types that can really have an impact on a game. At times can be a little bit wayward with his kicking, but threaded the needle there beautifully.
Corey Jones has now kicked 8 goals for the season. Only Brent Harvey with 9 has more for the Kangaroos. As we get back underway here in the first term, Cameron Wood, the rising star from round number 2, gets the Brisbane Lions working the direction they want to. This is Hadley. No left foot there. Tried to angle it off the right boot. Another minor score for the Brisbane Lions.
Yeah, interesting choice going with the banana, but great to see Richard Hadley running around. He's had a wretched run with a couple of knee reconstructions. Always been huge wraps on him. Got a great tank, can run, skillful midfielder. They've been giving him some jobs in recent weeks, and again today. Daniel Wells is a decent job to have.
His big job. Had goods last week for the second half.
Pack forms here. Copeland retreats. They get it to Sherman with time. He goes by hand. Put his teammate under pressure there, and it's scooped up by Brent Harvey. Wells in the middle for the Kangaroos. Down on his knees to take the mark. They're running the ball well, the Kangaroos. 3 sets of hands. Shannon Grant back to Harvey. Grant was taken down.
He actually ran into trouble, put his hand up and said to the umpire, forget the advantage. We'll go back and have the free kick.
Lee Brown out on a long lead. Couldn't get near it, though. Here's Jared Brennan, the exciting rebounder. Goes to the wing and gets Joel Patfull involved. He was looking for Charman, who's resting in the forward pocket, has 2 to beat. Very competitive, but the Kangaroos are going to prevail here through sheer weight of numbers. Glenn Archer to the centre of the ground. McIntosh couldn't handle it, needs support. Adam Simpson with his hands full. Ball sprung free. Here's Riccitelli. Inconclusive hand pass, grabbed by Wells. Now it's Hamish McIntosh, who's had more disposals than any other ruckman in the AFL this season. Has given Lindsay Thomas a task here against multiple opponents. He did a good job to get it back to Adam Simpson. In fact, it was Matt Campbell.
A good smuggler there. Both teams are playing numbers behind the ball, so it's very hard to go into their forward half of the ground on those turnovers.
Almost 17 minutes played, term number 1. Here's the new flakes of Blake Grimmer, getting an early touch for the Kangaroos. Went around the mark. We're going to have to reset here, according to umpire Kieran Nichols. More than 120 games experience. And Blake Grimmer First game of the season. Goes short. Daniel Pratt off and running, goes deep. Petrie out on a long lead, has 2 to beat. Nice defensive work there from Merritt. Kept alive though and still going. This is Gibson up from the back line, launches it towards full forward. Opportunity for the Kangaroos at the back, unable to shark it, Brent Harvey. He's been good all season, but unable to reel that in.
A little bit lucky there, I thought, the Brisbane Lions. A few of their defenders trying to take the mark over the top rather than going with the big punch.
And so often you see Harvey just crumb around those packs and get those little snaps on goal, but wasn't able to get the handle on the ball in that time.
Another opportunity now for the Kangaroos. Harvey slipped at the crucial time, wrapped up by Sherman. Stayed with it though, got a foot to the ball. Lions have numbers though, will look to run here. Adcock got it from Moody, went for a bounce. Has been called for holding the ball.
Just didn't see Sinclair. There seemed to be no peripheral vision.
He thinks he got a handball on it though.
Matt Campbell goes short.
I think he did.
That's probably right.
And finds Lee Brown out on the lead. An opportunity for the Kangaroos. In fact, it's Aaron Edwards.
And Jed Adcock probably has reason to feel aggrieved because he realised he was going to get pinged when he took the bounce, and as he collected the ball from the bounce, in the same motion he did get the fist on it. But luck's a fortune. Aaron Edwards, important kick.
Goal kicker the previous 2 weeks. Aaron Edwards lines it up. 45-degree angle, but misses to the near side.
Spoke about him prior to the match starting. He has a big role to play. I know he hasn't played many games, but he does come in as an experienced player that hasn't played a lot of AFL. He's been in the system for a few years, had a great season in the VFL last week. Another one that needs to make the most of every opportunity that comes his way.
And it's more probably his role to make a contest all the time, provide a lead, give confidence to midfielders to run and deliver the ball.
Play on, play on.
Lions patiently coming out of their defensive 50, go to centre wing. Cameron Wood getting front position there against Petrie. Inboard, they look for Scott Harding, off and running. Dances around a couple of would-be defenders. Works the ball to the half-forward line. Charman trying to palm the ball, scooped up by Daniel Pratt.
They've got numbers, Kangaroos on the wing.
Casey Green will grab it the half-back line. Shannon Graham wants it. He goes in that direction. He can turn and run as well. Decides to slow it down. Now looks into the centre of the ground where Drew Petrie took his eye off the ball, was just having a look to see where Chaney Stiller was and paid the penalty.
Mine. You had just as much of a chance.
Costly, those mistakes.
Came out a bit.
Just took his eye off it, looking to where his teammates were to pass it on before he'd taken possession.
Simpson, third man up there. Rischitelli grabs it though for the Brisbane Lions. On the retreat here is Colm Begley. And now working the ball wide, Chaney Stiller will find Matthew Moody, a late replacement for Nigel Lappin. Good defensive work coming there from Daniel Pratt again. He's won it back for the Kangaroos and they've got numbers. Edwards available, takes a strong mark. Out on the lead, Lee Brown. Merritt comes across, did an excellent job. And the ball out of bounds.
Edwards looked handy then. Jumped in the ball nicely, swung onto the boot, just couldn't quite get it to Brown. The closing speed of Daniel Merritt to get a fist on the ball was very good.
Don't hold at the front.
Big numbers around this contest. Hard for the Kangaroos to get a shot on goal.
Cameron Wood over the back of Lee Brown for the Kangaroos.
Right footy.
Probably outnumbered by about 3, the Kangaroos in this situation.
Take the ball, play. Thanks for footy.
Kangaroos have been good so far, as those numbers suggest. Played a tick over 21 minutes here in the first term. Brisbane Lions have had 7 scoring shots to 4, but they trail by 7 points. And Lee Matthews with Justin Lepich and Sean Wren in the background with plenty of instructions already. Game Wood comes from behind Lee Brown. They work the ball out. Begley had it thrown to the ground. No whistle forthcoming. Now Shannon Grant. Archer, good in this situation, finds a teammate, going to work, excellent finish as well from Daniel Harris, and the Kangaroos have their best first quarter of the season.
They're playing some very good football, the Kangaroos, aren't they?
Been good, have been slightly outscored as far as the inside 50s go, 13 to 11, but they've made the most of their opportunities. A couple of set shots would have been very handy, but to capitalise on that sort of situation, big numbers around the contest, get a shot on goal, and that's a very handy start to the Kangaroos, and that gives them confidence.
First goal of the season for Daniel Harris. One of the Kangaroos' best last week in their loss to the Hawks. Had 29 possessions and 15 tackles. The Kangaroos looking strong here, early stages, as they go forward again. Here's Edwards making a presence of himself. Deep to the goal square. Merritt again doing a good job to hold out his opponent, but the dangerous Brent Harvey scoops up the loose ball. It's touched on the last line of defence by Jed Adcock.
Luke Power has another opponent. He originally started with Jess Sinclair, but the Kangaroos obviously didn't like that matchup. They want to use the attacking flair of Sinclair. Casey Green's gone on to Power.
Justin Sherman tucked in the back pocket. Less than 5 minutes to play. Turn number one.
Move it on, play on.
Decides to go across the ground dangerously. And again, they have to retreat, and Jed Adcock is happy to cough up a rush behind.
That's a good sign for the Kangaroos, just the pressure they're putting on the Lions. The Lions been able to run the ball out of their defensive half so easily in recent weeks. They're really struggling tonight.
Simon Black. Plenty of time and space. Looks for Jonathan Brown again. Archer with courage coming back to fill the hot spot. This time going off the ground. And a strong tackle applied as well as Richard Hadley is wrapped up. Well, that's inspirational work by the shin boner of the century.
It is, and we speak about that pressure, Lynchy, you're talking about. 17 tackles to 8 the Kangaroos' way at the moment. They've come here to play.
Petrie up high. Loose ball. Simon Black can't control it, and it is over the line. Half forward flank for the Brisbane Lions. Wood again operating from behind. Drew Petrie trying to wrestle his way free as Andrew Swallow. Now it's Chris Johnson getting a piece of the action, but only as far as Josh Gibson to Shannon Grant. Hugging the boundary line, nice one-handed taken by Justin Sherman.
Had a good start, Sherman, up to 8 touches now. Had a quietish week last week, but getting his hands on the ball.
Brennan got it from Luke Power. Undecided. It goes to the long lead from Jonathan Brown. Mishandled it. Here's a dangerous Jason Rowe wrapped up in a strong tackle by Daniel Harris.
You've got to be impressed the way they're attacking the Lions players once they take possession of the footy. Kangaroos just all over them.
Straight to the ball, boys.
Brady Rawlings launches the Kangaroos up the centre wing. Jared Brennan gets a piece of it, knocks it down to the advantage of a teammate. Adcock
You're running him.
went down, no free kick forthcoming. Here's Matt Campbell losing out. Begley wrapped up by 2 Kangaroos. And a stalemate.
He played that well, Jason Rowe. Potentially dangerous situation to play with his head over the ball. He just stood up, stood back, and the player actually came forward and ran into him, and you heard the umpire clearly. No, you ran into him. No free kick.
Strong work again going from Chris Johnson.
A bit high there, a bit high, but you've got to be happy with the intensity. Certainly the Lions last week were very good against the Swans, best in the business, but the Kangaroos are equally as good this week.
Jonathan Brown the target again. They're coming across. Glenn Archer diffusing the situation momentarily. Faride has support. This is Casey Green. Looks up. Brennan, best position, gets a strong fist to it. Knocks it out of bounds. A little over 2 minutes left to play here in the first quarter.
Well, no great surprise to see Glenn Archer peeling off at every opportunity to drop into that hole in front of Jonathan Brown. And he's going to put his body on the line every time.
Petrie's been good so far, but it's Sharman getting the tap over the back. Sherman in traffic. Shut down by Casey Green. Lindsay Thomas thrown by Riccitelli. Richard Hadley gets it out, only as far as Petrie, though. Lee Brown, a strong knock to keep it alive. Here's an opportunity for Matt Campbell, goes off the ground. And again, the Brisbane Lions happy to concede a rush behind, this time through Tim Notting.
Under siege, the Lions. I think they would be trying to get control of the game and slow the tempo down a little bit here. Just the flood of pressure from the Kangaroos, whether it be through the gang tackle or their run off the back line, is very good.
Jason Rowe, calm in a crisis, gets around Lindsay Thomas and feeds the ball out to Jamie Charman. Lee Colbert on the boundary.
Both teams ferocious in this first quarter, but as you said, the Kangaroos, they are on tonight. But interestingly, Jonathan Brown's finding a little bit of space, so as the game goes on, expect to see him come right into the game.
Here's an opportunity for Edwards, heading back to do some defensive work, help out. Poor pass, hand pass. Now the Brisbane Lions with an opportunity, only momentarily though. At close quarters, good courage coming there from Simon Black, standing his ground. And Johnson fires the ball forward. But Brady Rawlins is there to take a relieving mark for the Kangaroos. Less than a minute to play, term number 1. 16-point lead for the Kangaroos as Brady Rawlins works the western side of the Gold Coast Stadium. Harris goes out wide. Hamish McIntosh has been busy for the Kangaroos, goes long. Didn't do his forwards any favours with the kick. Lindsay Thomas tries to corral it, so too the Brisbane Lions. But it has trickled out of bounds despite the best efforts of Colm Begley. Charman with a hand on it. Here's Begley again. The Irishman working hard. Rawlins very calm and poised as he turns around, looks for a marking forward. An opportunity again for the Kangaroos at the back. And Drew Petrie, did he get enough on it? It's close, and it is the Kangaroos' 5th goal of the opening term.
Well, did he get enough on it? He got a shoelace on that.
Golfing terms, he's near Mary. He's just tickled that one just off the tee bed, basically, but it was enough to get over the line. And that is certainly what the Brisbane Lions didn't need this late in the game.
He gets so little on the first one, he had a second go at it with the other foot because he knew he didn't get a lot on it.
And he missed it with that one too, I think. So it was a goal. So Drew Petrie has kicked his first goal for the game. Not really convincing, but I'm sure in the coach's box they'll be very happy. 34-12, and then the Lions have got plenty to worry about.
Great start for the Kangaroos. They've kicked the last 3 goals. They lead by 22 points and have restricted the Brisbane Lions to their lowest scoring opening quarter so far this season. Chris Camelins will do the honours, wearing number 19 for the men in green. Throws it in the air.
Holding Brisbane Lions.
And a free kick for the Brisbane Lions, but time is going to beat them here. Quarter time arrives, and an impressive start from the Kangaroos. A 5-goal first term, their best of the season so far. They've opened up a handy 22-point lead against the Brisbane Lions, but it's the way that they've gone about it, Jason, that's been impressive.
Absolutely. Great aggression at the football, great aggression at the opposition when they have the ball. And they're just being rewarded by being relentless. Can they maintain it for the 4 quarters? That's the big issue, because they have been run over a couple of times.
Massive concerns for the Lions, I think. As we said, they had a good game last week. Maybe the body pressure of the Swans and the heat at the SCG maybe have taken its toll.
Well, the first of 3 games on the Gold Coast for the Kangaroos has started well. They lead it by 22 points, and we'll have more for you right after this. And welcome back to Gold Coast Stadium here at Carrara. An enterprising start to the match from the Kangaroos. 5 goals for and 5 individual goal kickers, only one of them from a mark inside 50, and they lead the Brisbane Lions by 22 points. The only goal coming from Simon Black on the run, and that arrived for them at the 11.5-minute mark of the first term. There are the stats here in the first quarter, Jason. Anything that grabs your eye?
Oh, Well, look, I just think it's been probably not so much a standout in the stats apart from the clearances. They've been very good, the Kangaroos. It's just been their total pressure at all parts of the ground, just a willingness to put the body on the line, to push forward, to make sure when they tackle a Brisbane Lions player, they stop them dead, they stop them cold, and they've been very, very good. Been very impressed with Aaron Edwards. He's given them something up forward. And if you look at all the forwards, Lindsay Thomas, Lee Brown, Drew Petrie, and Lindsay Thomas, I mentioned him, and Corey Jones was the other one. They've all only had 2 touches, but each one's got a goal. They've all got something out of their efforts.
Now we look at the inside 50s, it's actually in favour of the Brisbane Lions, 16 to the Kangaroos 14, but I think where the Brisbane Lions have been forced to go is out wide. Jonathan Brown's had to push up towards the forward 50 line to take his possessions. He's had 5, had a couple of shots on goal, so he could have converted those, but he'd need to get the ball deeper.
Well, they've got some problems at the moment, the Brisbane Lions. Let's get down to Lee Colbert.
Paul Hudson, forward setup's okay. You just haven't got the ball in there often enough, although just not finishing off.
Yeah, just their conversion's a lot better. We had the opportunities, but just didn't convert. So, you know, their intensity around the ball's been fantastic. Whether they can sustain that, we've just got to get better and get better execution into our forwards and give them every chance.
All the best, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, look, I think that's a fair point. No reason to panic if you're the Brisbane Lions. 1 goal, 6. Could easily be 6 goals, 1. They've had some regulation shots they've missed.
Yeah, but all around outside or around that 50-metre mark. So I think Jonathan Brown would look to play a little bit deeper and draw the ball. Lee Matthews talks about drawing the ball in deep, and I think Brownie will be closer to goal this quarter.
The other thing that the Kangaroos have done is they haven't allowed the Lions to own the corridor, which they've done in a couple of good wins already this season.
Underway, term number 2 from Carrara. The Kangaroos with a 22-point lead against the hot favourites, the Brisbane Lions. A stalemate and will need to restart.
And Jonathan Brown has started in the goal square, so as we thought, Lee Matthews has got him to go back and look for the long bomb to the top of the square.
Here's a chance for Luke Power, but only as far as Daniel Wells. Multiple defenders coming across. Jason Rowe from Brisbane did a good job. Retreats to Jared Brennan. He looks up.
Dilla.
Called to play on now. Robert Copeland, undecided. Goes in the Jonathan Brown direction. Usually a good idea. Nice fist coming across from Daniel Pratt to defuse a situation. Ash McGrath out of bounds as he tried to keep it alive.
Yeah, it's important that Daniel Pratt did that. I mean, it's not always going to be Glenn Archer, but the other Kangaroos have to be aware that a long bomb into the forward line, if it's one out between Brown and Frito, Brown's got a big advantage in the body-on-body strength. They've got to leave their opponents and come over the top of the score like Pratt did.
McIntosh getting a hand to it, working hard, slaps it. Now an opportunity. And working the boundary line. That's an excellent snap. What a goal from Scott Harding, the man who makes things happen.
Are you serious? I mean, that is an unbelievable snap. He made it look easy. Let's not get drawn into thinking, oh, yeah, it's just a regulation goal. He has picked this up after being involved in it all, tapped it out into space, running at full pace, low to the ground, threaded the needle. That's brilliant. Every right to celebrate after a goal like that. We know this guy's got some talent.
Well, Scott Harding, he's an exciting talent, just 20 years of age. Kicked a goal against the Swans last week and backs up with another here. Playing game number 18 in the AFL. Good contest again from Cameron Wood, works it to Notting. Notting has Black available, scoops up the ball, 50 and closing, goes to work. Umpire hasn't moved, and it's 2 in 30 seconds for the Brisbane Lions.
Great signs for the Lions. The 2 centre clearances have been very effective, and Simon Black, who's over the pre-season and going into the start of this season is in career best form, leading the competition in contested gets. That certainly wasn't a contested get, but it was a beautiful finish, and what a start. The Lions just what they needed to answer the Kangaroos after a good first quarter.
Simon Black, one of the best for the Lions last week against Sydney with 16 possessions and 7 clearances. One of 4 co-captains tonight for Brisbane. Back-to-back goals for the first time, and Fixter gets them going again to the half-forward line. Johnson keeps it alive, working hard, goes off the ground again. Just can't find the target.
Amazing how quickly you're under pressure when you get clean ball out of the middle. The Kangaroos had dominated the clearances in the first quarter. All of a sudden the Brisbane Lions with a couple of quick clearances out of the middle, and it is one-way traffic heading forward. The Kangaroos just have to keep their composure and make sure they keep that same attack on the footy.
Kangaroos go out wide. Glenn Archer tucked into the boundary line. Big pack of players looming on the wing, but he's going to have to go in that direction. McIntosh the target. Over the back came Cameron Wood with a fist. Brady Rawlings manhandled. McIntosh is after it again. Gets it to Daniel Harris. He was composed. Luke Power in the best position here and making a good contest of it. Coming across on that occasion was Casey Green.
Hasn't done a bad job, Casey Green. He's already picked up 8 touches. Luke Power has the 6. He's certainly being physical with him.
Josh Gibson with some problems. Ineffective in the disposal. Copeland hands over. And now they go through Adcock to Jared Brennan. Notting the target against Daniel Wells. Notting couldn't take the mark. Now Wells has Harvey in support, using his quicks, the smallest man out there. Is that 15? Fans on the eastern wing didn't think so.
Looked about half that.
Luke Power with courage going back, knocking the ball out of bounds for the Brisbane Lions.
It's interesting, the Kangaroos have swapped wings with Daniel Wells. He had Richard Hadley doing the job on him in the first quarter. This time he's lined up against Tim Notting, and the Lions not fast. Happy for Notting to run with Wells.
McIntosh working the ball to Brady Rawlings. He needs support provided by Harvey. And across the line.
Clearances at quarter time were 12-8 in favour of the Kangaroos. It's come up to 13-12 with the Lions closing.
Shannon Grant working hard, can't control it, loose ball. Bushatelli at the back, goes with the handball. Notting needs to be quick. Coming out to meet it, Josh Gibson. Archer in support. Reels it in eventually to the half-forward line. Corey Jones. An opportunity for the Kangaroos. This is Copeland. Harding working it onwards. Adcock surveys his options, goes to Jonathan Brown on a good lead and finds him.
Brilliant kick. It was a brilliant kick because there was a 2-on-1. They had a couple of players dropping back to put pressure on Jonathan Brown. And you see Adcock here, he looks up and he waited till Brown actually led back to the fat side because he had both Pratt and Ferrito cutting off the direct access.
He's near the leader in that back half. Such a young player. And Jed Adcock makes smart decisions. You'd back Brown from here. He's missed his first 2 attempts from similar sort of range, but you'd think the third one would get through.
9 goals so far this season. But again, he's missed to the near side.
He's pulled all 3. It's a very unusual. He certainly got the distance easily, but just pulling the ball. So I think he'd be disappointed with that. I think he'd like his next one from the top of the goal square with a nice contested mark to get the confidence right up.
Archer confidently to Daniel Wells. Still deep in the defensive 50. Lions happy to zone off at the moment. They've left 1 man available.
Yeah, they'll let you chip it short and wide all night. The Lions, they're happy for the Kangaroos to play this game, but they won't let you use the corridor, and they'll try and cause you to turn it over in doing so.
Shannon Watt to centre wing. There's Hamish McIntosh, couldn't control it at the second attempt. Notting in a confined space. Was looking for Hadley, stolen away by Lindsay Thomas. Ferrito gets some run from Brady Rawlings off the half-back line. His pass left a little to be desired. Aaron Edwards made to work hard. And the Brisbane Lions are going to get out of trouble through Notting. Gets it across now to Luke Power. Has options, and Jonathan Brown out on a long lead, diving to get there.
You've been a little bit lucky there, Glenn Archer. That's nearly 50 metres when you go well after the mark's been completed to put body contact on.
Chris Johnson charges out to take one on the chest from one co-captain to another.
Beautiful pass, Jonathan Brown. He's working very hard, covering an enormous amount of territory. And Chrissy Johnson spent a lot of his career at the other end of the ground, but was a very handy forward pocket in his early days at Fitzroy. He was in the Victorian squad as a forward pocket.
Kicked a goal in round 2 against St Kilda and has kicked a goal here against the Kangaroos. That's 3 in a row for the Brisbane Lions as they work their way back to within 2 points.
And it's around the contest and the contested situations where the Lions have really picked up. They've been fantastic at the clearances. But you just see here, quick lead, just got a start on Ferrito, did Chrissy Johnson, and very hard when you've got a good pass from Jonathan Brown to stop.
It's 30-year-old Chris Johnson adds to the tally for the Brisbane Lions, who are down by as many as 22 points, now back to within 2 as we get underway. We played a little over 9 minutes here in the second term. The Kangaroos will have an opportunity to clear through Brent Harvey. Goes quickly to Hamish McIntosh.
Thanks, Dan. Stay there.
Having to do it all solo tonight in the absence of David Hale. That was Edwards climbing over the back, trying to pull down a screamer, and the Lions rush it through.
He's doing a pretty good job, one out McIntosh. He does pick up ruck rover type stats around the ground. He's already had 8 possessions, doing a very good job. Wood just the 1 and Charman 3 for Brisbane.
Adcock goes to Jared Brennan, who hugs the boundary line. Works the ball up almost to the half-back line. McIntosh again getting a hand to it, but it's sharked by Rischitelli. Copeland to Fixter. And again, the Lions out of the back line. Here's an opportunity. Sherman has Adcock running. It was a slow handball. He had to go back and retrieve it. Now that pass is off the money. Opportunity for the Kangaroos to clear. Strong work from Shannon Watt with the support of Brent Harvey to the centre of the ground. Daniel Harris turns, is off and running, has a man available. It's Lindsay Thomas. In fact, it's Matt Campbell. Run down. Great tackle from Jared Brennan. Maybe a goal-saving tackle. And now Luke Power off and running for the Brisbane Lions. Has Johnson available. He comes inboard, looking for Tim Notting.
Now Tim Notting needs to get the ball deep to a one-on-one contest. Brown and Ferrito.
Isolated at the top of the goal square. Brown comes out, isn't going to make the contest though. Kangaroos with numbers. Shannon Grant trying to work it to the safety of the boundary line. It's a hot ball at the moment. Grimmer unable to keep it alive. Kangaroos will be happy with that.
And Notting just wasn't quick enough. As we'll see the tackle from Brennan. The Kangaroos were away there, but a very good tackle. Notting just needed to get back quickly and give Brown that one-on-one chance.
Charman back onto the ground. Nudges McIntosh out of the contest. Lions can't create from it though as we go down to Lee Colbert.
John, the umpires tonight are actually electing to throw the ball up because the ground is, they are claiming, too spongy. Atmosphere getting going down here, Brisbane supporters, and I've got an 8-year-old absolutely going mad next to me.
You'll enjoy that. Here's the Kangaroos through Adam Simpson. Nice work from Lee Brown working up the ground. Opportunity for the Kangaroos. Wells shut down again by Notting. Good defence by the Brisbane Lions. Corey Jones can't handle it. Aaron Edwards works it out. We find Brent Harvey working within his range. Harvey gets the job done for the Kangaroos. Their first goal of the second term.
Desperately needed for the Kangaroos. Brent Harvey did it on his own in the end. He had a couple of options, but he also saw a little bit of space ahead. Very good runner of the football, got a terrific little change of direction, and then just finished calmly from 40-odd metres. They needed a set here because the Brisbane Lions have a run on at the moment, and often it only takes one goal to turn things around, just to stop the momentum of the other side.
Well, Brent Harvey kicked 2 goals against Brisbane when they played in round 15 last season. He continues the good job here. First for the Kangaroos in the second term. We played 13 minutes here as Hamish McIntosh gets involved again. Daniel Wells off and running for the Kangaroos. Defensive work from Adcock against Corey Jones. Jared Brennan casually retreats. This is Begley, the Irishman. from Stradbally Gaelic Football Club.
Probably not a bad result there for the Lions. Get over the line. They were severely outnumbered. So Begley's been a revelation since he's come to Australia and picked up this game so quickly.
Sharman again, good use of the body against McIntosh. Simpson doing some hard work for the Kangaroos. And that was Grimmer getting involved as well. His first game of the season. McIntosh goes in the Aaron Edwards direction. Got a yard on Jason Rowe. Couldn't control the mark, however. And we'll have a throw in.
He keeps presenting Aaron Edwards, though. I like him. He just puts himself in the right positions all the time, and he's having a bit of an impact. It'll come. The goals will come if he keeps working like that.
Simon Black getting the ball out. Now an opportunity for the Brisbane Lions to clear. Glenn Archer coming through with authority. Gets another opportunity. Made his own luck there. But his disposal is a little wide. It's going to be thrown in.
Okay, so we spoke in the first quarter about the Kangaroos, how they just dominated, in particular around the contest with the tackles. They had twice as many as the Brisbane Lions in the second quarter. The Lions lead the tackle count 9-4, so they're starting to get their hands dirty.
Kangaroos looking dangerous again. Edwards can't complete it. Getting plenty of treatment from Jason Rowe as well.
And I'll tell you what, he's been borderline a free kick or two as well, which hasn't gone his way, but it will turn for him because he just works hard.
And he had a hand in the last goal to Harvey. Good handball out into space for Harvey to convert.
Petrie working hard for the Kangaroos. And a tight tussle. No chance of the ball coming out of there without the assistance of the umpires.
Well, Hamish McIntosh has just come off for a spell for the Kangaroos, and he was absolutely flagging. He's doing a power of work out there.
Kangaroos sharking the tap from Charman. But it gave no room to operate in.
Once again, big numbers. There's 30 players in that defensive 50 for the Lions.
Nobody in the attacking half of the ground for the Brisbane Lions. They're all over the centre line. Jonathan Brown in the middle of the ground at the moment.
Made that 32 players now in that forward 50 for the Kangas.
Petrie front position, working hard. Now they get it to Brent Harvey. Boundary line, Simpson hooks one over the shoulder to the top of the goal square. Jason Rowe athletically to defuse the situation for the Lions momentarily, but still some work to do. And that's excellent defensive work from the Brisbane Lions. And this will be down the field, a free kick.
Gee, there was some calmness under pressure coming out of defence. They had some numbers, the Kangaroos, but Brisbane Lions players were absolutely tremendous. And it might have been Adcock who just handled it beautifully.
Jonathan Brown to the contest, climbing high, couldn't drag it into the second attempt. Kangaroos with numbers. Hand pass though from Rawlings wasn't a good one. And now it's Harding for the Brisbane Lions, trying to draw a free kick, unable to convince the umpires. Notting will get one now though.
No subtlety there from Glenn Archer. He came in hard on Tim Notting, and that is a dead set free kick at any stage of the game. So I don't know why Archer's shaking his head. He was looking to have a physical impact there. He just comes in. You watch him come in here, all over the top of him.
Now, Tim Notting, he can roost the ball from pretty well anywhere on this ground. It is a tough pocket to kick goals, but if anyone here can kick him from here.
He's also sucking in a few deep ones too after a couple of second efforts there.
Well, he's the most efficient Brisbane player with the ball at 93% last week. Gives it a nice ride. And Tim Notting from the boundary line snags another for the Brisbane Lions.
Fantastic shot on goal, Timmy Notting. Got the free kick, bit of treatment from Glenn Archer, and he was blowing very well there. So to suck in the deep breaths just to compose himself, but his best shots are from outside 50. He kicks through the ball really well, and that is a dead-eye dick shot from way outside.
And I'll tell you what, as soon as he kicked it, he was off with the arm in the air.
Well, Tim Notting was Brisbane's best last week against the Swans. 16 possessions. A nice finish on that occasion as well. 3-point ball game, although the Kangaroos go into attack through Adam Simpson. Good defensive work from Merritt. But here's a live wire. Matt Thomas looking for the assistance of Lindsay Thomas. Matt Campbell it was. Casey Green with his hands full.
And we've seen the importance of converting those long shots. Timmy Notting, Simon Black from outside 50. In the first quarter, they weren't able to capitalise those chances. Yeah, they got themselves right back in the game. Just 3 points the difference.
Sharman gets his hand to it. Brisbane Lions will have an opportunity through Simon Black to work it out of the defensive 50. Glenn Archer all over his opponent again.
There's a clever one-handed mark there by Joel Patfull.
Goes back to Simon Black, who needs Patfull again. To the half-forward line, ill-directed.
Kick not as clever as the mark.
No, but that's something he's done each week. He's been able to play a roll up forward for the Brisbane Lions and take that contested mark, and it was very smart play.
Copeland couldn't control it. Corey Jones wheels around on the left foot. Jared Brennan has to go and does it strongly. This is Jason Rowe who's been busy. Can't reel it in. Under pressure there from Blake Grimmer.
Rowe's been very good. He's had plenty of pressure and been able to go with Edwards on the lead.
Simon Black to Notting. Now it's Luke Power wheeling around onto the favourite left foot. And Jason Rowe has got it again. Numbers running to the outer wing. Rowe's going to go long in that direction. Copeland in the vicinity. Couldn't reel it in under pressure from Petrie. This is Shannon Watt needing the assistance of Glenn Archer. As numbers inboard, goes that way. Jess Sinclair gets around Jonathan Brown and now works it to Brady Rawlings, who's found a yard against Ben Fixter. Brent Harvey wider. Rawlings reluctant to go that way, though. Wants to come back to the eastern side of Carrara, where Glenn Archer is available.
It's a good decision by Rawlings, because if he goes wide to Harvey, there's still numbers behind there and no space for him, whereas he goes the other way, they can play on.
Courageous stuff coming from Jess Sinclair, but it goes unrewarded. And now the Brisbane Lions are looming. Ash McGrath has plenty of space. Now he's going to get run down. Got it off before Daniel Wells got there. Ben Fixter, he's got problems. Strong contest provided again from Daniel Pratt, who's doing a good job, and the Kangaroos are off through Shannon Watt.
Yeah, the problem that McGrath had was there was no one forward of him to kick to, so he had to hold the ball up.
Sharman, close quarters to Robert Copeland. Tim Notting joins in. Finds a teammate coming across here. That's Cheney Stiller.
Notting's been good, up to 14 possessions, starting to really carry the ball off half-back and find targets.
Thanks, Lee. Did well.
Jason Rowe looking to go across to the wing where Jared Brennan is lurking. Very methodical from the Brisbane Lions. Patient, happy to wait for their opportunity. Now in the middle of the ground, Colin Begley presents himself.
Stay up, Lee.
You just see all the Brisbane Lions players. There's a lot of numbers behind the ball, but they're all around the corridor.
Again, they work it forward. Jonathan Brown out on a long lead. Under pressure from Ferrito, who did a good job. This is Moody. Working hard. Courageous work from Matthew Moody. Still going, and he's going to get pinned. He's holding the ball.
Gee, you feel for a bloke that makes all the running, don't you? He battled 2 and 3 times against different opponents to keep the ball going. He was trying to keep it moving. He didn't just lie on the footy in there, and it got locked under him and he got pinged.
Well, Brett Harvey drops what he should have taken, but has enough time to recover and work it to Daniel Pratt. Harvey on again, and that's where Pratt's going. Barely the 15.
He's barely 5. That wasn't far at all. And that one cannot be 15.
And Jess Sinclair's been paid the mark. Aaron Edwards leading to the pocket, but he goes shorter than that. And Daniel Wells looks inboard, has multiple options here. Daniel Harris hands over to Brent Harvey. He's going even wider. Glenn Archer looks up. Edwards available. Archer heads in that direction against Jared Brennan.
Oh, that's a good one.
And Aaron Edwards not paid the mark, told to play on Corey Jones. Only as far as Brennan. His kick is astray as well. Shannon Watt there. Lee Brown coming across Andrew Swallow. Now needs support. Back out it goes with Shannon Grant. Will get his first touch since quarter time. And gets it to Brent Harvey.
Stay there.
Not the most attractive football we've seen so far. Almost 24 minutes played in this second term. Hadley hands over to Jason Rowe.
Got nowhere to go.
He only has two teammates ahead of him at the moment, and he's in the centre of the ground. He's going to get run down, and he's holding the ball.
And don't totally blame Jason Rowe there. He looked up, and there was Jonathan Brown trying to stream as we look at Edwards' mark, and you'd
Just
reckon
about pay that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, and he's worked hard to try to get possession. Just needed a bit of a break then.
Harvey launches one from the 50 to the top of the goal square, getting back. Drew Petrie couldn't control it at the second attempt. And that is out on the full. The Kangaroos will get a shot here.
Adcock just tried to toe that one along the line, but got under it and just chipped it over out in the full.
Matt Campbell will take the kick. Lindsay Thomas hands over.
They've brought him right around, so he's almost behind the goals here.
Might be a bad thing, though.
It's a bit of magic.
Kicked one goal in his career against the Hawks last week for the Kangaroos. Elevated off the rookie list. Across the face of goal. And an opportunity for the Kangaroos.
Again, Edwards is stiff, isn't it?
It's not Edwards.
It is. I reckon it is. We've said 4 or 5 times how close he is to turning things around. And he's asked the question there because this looked like another mark.
Not
Didn't quite get. The other one probably was.
There's been 2 marks and 2 free kicks he could have got.
Sharman looking to rush it through and does so with the assistance of Matthew Moody.
A quick clearance would be good here just before the Kangaroos have time to set up. And the option didn't pop up, so got to try to pick off a target short. Nice pass.
Touch play on was the call. Hadley obliges. Harding.
Pushing the back. We've got a chance here if they move it quickly with an open forward line.
Luke Power goes short, finds Ash McGrath. He's going even wider. Tim Notting has taken the mark. Brings it inside to pass and finds Richard Hadley.
That's Notting's 17th touch and 14th for the quarter.
He's on Daniel Wells this quarter.
He's absolutely carving them up.
Hadley going sideways and bringing in Robert Copeland. Became a father in the off-season. Son Brock. Now he has a crowded forward line confronting him. Going to go short. Across the ground once more to Jason Rowe.
Well, this is where Sydney are normally so good. They will just sit and chip it around and bide their time until they can probe into an opening and identify a target in the attacking 50. So he goes a mongrel talk.
Not quite what they'd have to order.
Edwards again. Edwards. It is.
Couldn't reel it in.
He should take himself off.
Jared Brennan was at a high tackle. Andrew Swallow working hard. Brennan doing a good job of it. Casey Green looked as though he was infringed as well. That went unwhistled. Here's Brent Harvey as we stream forward. The pass looking for Adam Simpson goes astray. Copeland taken down heavily by Corey Jones. It's a free kick up the ground. Luke Power has it. Inboard he comes. And Matthew Moody.
Great vision. He had Scott Harding and Matthew Moody in the centre. And as we see so often, Luke Power, his ability to see laterally and drag that left foot around the corner and hit targets.
Well, statistically, Matthew Moody is the worst shot for goal in the AFL. He goes from 50
and looks it
and pushes it across the face of goal for a point.
There wasn't a lot of method to the madness there. He just walked in and blasted it as hard as he could. Probably struggling distance-wise, so maybe didn't focus as much on the technique as he should have.
Glenn Archer has Josh Gibson available and goes in that direction. It's an excellent pass. Gibson off and running with a left foot. Poor pass. Cut out by Cheney Stiller. 30 seconds remaining until half-time. Do the Lions have something in the tank? Scott Harding, who kicked their first goal in this term, decides to go long to the goal front. Good defensive work by the Kangaroos. Daniel Wells helping out Glenn Archer with numbers. Finds Jess Sinclair. Final 10 seconds of the first half. Jess Sinclair will see it out. And at the major break, the Kangaroos lead by 3 after they held a 22-point lead at quarter time. But the last time these two sides met, round 15 last year, the Kangaroos also led at quarter time and half time before being overrun by a single point by the Brisbane Lions, who continue their great streak. They haven't lost a second quarter so far this year, Brisbane. That was a much improved performance where they kicked 4 goals to just 1.
Aren't you the prophet of doom, Case, making every argument why the Brisbane Lions might get the job done here. But the Kangaroos, look, they've worked hard to maintain the lead in the first half. They've got to capitalise on it with an equal effort in the second half.
Well, the Kangaroos getting just 1 goal in that second term from Brent Harvey. 4 goals from the Brisbane Lions. We have a ball game. 3-point margin here. We'll be back with more right after this.
Half-time here at Carrara, and it is a 3-point margin. The Kangaroos 6-6-42, the Lions 5-9-39. All single goal kickers for the Kangaroos. Simon Black kicking a couple for the Brisbane Lions, and as you'd expect, some very familiar faces there getting amongst the possessions. Alistair Lynch, as we look at the match stats, it's look, probably reflective of the fact that we've got a close game on our hands.
Yeah, there's not too much different there. I mean, the thing for the Brisbane Lions in that quarter, they were able to convert a couple of those opportunities from outside 50, set shots as well. I mean, Simon's Black clearance out of the middle and hit a running goal from 50 was very good. So, yeah, very close game, interesting contest for the second half.
Well, unfortunately for the Brisbane Lions, they were a little bit wasteful in the first half. Jonathan Brown, in particular, got quite a bit of the footy, but didn't finish the way we normally see him finish. And in fact, I think he missed 3 set shots, 2 in the first quarter, 1 in the second quarter, and all 3 of them he pulled to the left.
Yeah, very unusual for Jonathan Brown. Certainly he had the distance, but just dragging them all left, and you would have thought on that third one he would have corrected, but still pulled it. You think Jonathan Brown will get those a little bit later in the game, no doubt.
Yeah, I just think on each occasion he was a little bit worried about the distance. He'd run out to the right and then hook it across his body rather than keeping things in a straight line. Well, the Kangaroos, the reason they're in this game and the reason they've led from virtually the start is the fact that they have tackled their socks off. They've been tremendous. Whenever the ball's been in dispute, they've been there putting the bodies on the line, some bone-crunching tackles, and they have not allowed the Lions to get the ball out of those contests.
No, that has been the thing. Lions have enjoyed a bit of space, and their youngsters have run off halfback extremely well over recent weeks, but they've had no space today. The gang tackle, as teams often talk about, is 1 or 2 players going in, tackling the opponent and throwing them to ground. So a lot of pressure on the Brisbane Lion ball carriers, and I think that's what the Kangaroos will be looking to do in the second half to maintain the way they're going.
Well, it was a 22-point margin at quarter time, but the Lions came out firing in the second quarter, a couple of quick goals to get things started. But then in the end, it was some classy finishing. Scott Harding here threading the needle. That was just brilliant. A contested ball at ground level. He kept his balance, and then Tim Notting from 55 on the boundary, if you don't mind. That could be the difference between winning and losing games.
Without doubt, and that's the difference between the first quarter and the second quarter. The clearances certainly went the Brisbane Lions' way early part of that second quarter to get them back up and going, but Tim Notting from all but 60 metres out and just a great shot on goal. And Harding, we spoke about him before the game, his pace and electrifying skill, we just saw it as a prime example then, very important for the Lions.
Now, Lynchy, I know we've been trying to get this bloke up. Aaron Edwards has been so close on a number of occasions. He's been contesting marks left, right and centre. Probably should have got paid that one. I thought he had a good purchase on it. Nearly took that one. Nearly took another one in defence. But you'd like to think he's going to get rewarded at some stage, wouldn't you?
Yeah, he's nearly playing very well. So he's certainly presenting. We spoke about him again before the game, the way he presents, and he's a very good full forward. So hopefully he can get his hands on the ball, get a few kicks, and some of those results on the scoreboard.
An exciting first half under our belt. So much conjecture and speculation about the future of the Kangaroos. We'll hear from their CEO, Rick Allet, next. Welcome back to Carrara. If you've just joined us, the margin at half-time is 3 points in favour of the Kangaroos. 6-6-42 plays 5-9-39. If you're a Kangaroo supporter, you're probably thinking the club's due for a change of luck. You're a little bit concerned about the future. I tell you what, if you're a budding football administrator, would you walk into the hot seat, that being the CEO's position at the Kangaroos Football Club? This man has, Rick Allet, and he joins us now at ground level. Thanks for your time, Rick. Appreciate it.
No worries, Jason. Pleasure.
Now, look, it must be a really tough time for you at the moment. There is so much speculation virtually on a daily basis about where the club's going, and I guess things got kicked off during the week with a supposed clandestine meeting between some of the shareholders and some power brokers from the AFL.
Oh yes, Jason, it's been a tough week. There's been plenty on, but you know, look, that's a matter for the shareholders. That's what they need to sort out. The members can rest assured that I'm going to control what I can control, and that is the management of the business and the on-field performance. Dean and Donald will get into the on-field performance, and we will try and turn this club around. We will turn this club around.
I found it rather intriguing, some of the comments from Ron Joseph during the week suggesting that it looked like Graham Duff might be involved in the talks that were going on, and yet he wasn't sure. It's almost like they're not all on the same page.
Well, we are all on the same page. We do all want the same thing. We want North to be successful, viable, and be around for the next 100 years. It's okay for board members to have differences of opinion and sort it out in the boardroom, but we all have the same objective in mind.
Rick, there was talk that there would be a meeting between Andrew Demetrio and also Bob Ansett, another one of the key shareholders in the Kangaroos. To your knowledge, has that happened?
No, Jason, I haven't. That's not to my knowledge.
What about the Gold Coast as a long-term option for the Kangaroos? Do you think it's one of the best options in terms of long-term survival, or is there a plan that will ensure the survival of the Kangaroos at Arden Street?
Jason, I think both Carrara, the Gold Coast and Melbourne play a part in the whole piece, in the whole jigsaw. Look, Carrara is very important to us. The next 3 years, 10 games, very, very good commercial deal. That's just one part of putting the whole, the financial strength in place, one part of the puzzle. Melbourne members, Melbourne-based, we're building our Arden Street, we're doing our redevelopment there, and we respect our culture, our history, our members, and that's most important to us.
Well, Dean Laidley made comments over the last couple of days that the talk was such that it's starting to affect the minds of the players. How do you stop that happening?
Jace, look, it's all about teamwork. The players are focused on what they're going to do. We've got fantastic youth and talent. We're playing exciting football. We're united, we're resilient. That's the North Melbourne spirit, the Shinboner spirit, and the boys will focus on what they need to do, and that's just, again, this is the beginning of our journey. On-field performance, 100% commitment, that's what it's all about.
Certainly has been an exciting first half, Rick, and that spirit is clearly evident. Also talk from Graham Duff that perhaps Chris Judd would be on the agenda. He wouldn't be a bad addition to the playing stocks, I'd imagine.
Yeah, Jace, yeah, Chris Judd, he'd be a terrific addition. There's probably one or two more out there as well.
Mate, it's one of the hottest seats in football, but you're certainly tackling it with gusto, and we wish you and the Kangaroos all the best. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Jace. We'll be right. Don't worry about that.
Rick Allet, a very positive Rick Allet, the CEO of the Kangaroos, and they've put in a very positive first half, leading by 3 points here at Carrara. We'll be back with the second half after the break.
Welcome back to Saturday Night Football from Carrara on the Gold Coast, where for the third time in 4 games this season, the Kangaroos lead at half-time, but they're yet to register their first win. Can they get across the line? Let's find out from Lee Colbert.
Kangaroo supporters going to be very dewy in the second half. Ground is a little bit slippery, humid's in, so look out. But looking forward to a really big last half of this game. So good luck, men.
Interesting just seeing both Shannon Grant and Sinclair also heading onto the bench to start this second half. Now, are they saving the run in the legs, or is there a bit of a message there? Shannon Grant had a very good first quarter, very quiet in the second term, so things not going perhaps as he would like. And Sinclair, 9 possessions for him, so he hasn't been horrible.
And a quick change just as the bounce of the ball is going to happen. Sinclair and Archer are going to rotate off the bench. They're just trying to work out whether they can actually do it now. No, they don't know what they're doing actually, but Archer will come off and Sinclair will push to the defensive half of the ground.
Not really what you wanted to see to start the second half from a Kangaroos perspective.
Second half underway from Carrara. Hamish McIntosh and the rookie Cameron Wood go at it.
Just watch him when you're coming in, okay?
And a free kick awarded to the Kangaroos captain, Adam Simpson. Wells is available for him. He swings it to the western side of Carrara. And working hard for his team, Hamish McIntosh has grabbed another one. He goes to the top of the goal square. Coming out, Lee Brown couldn't control it.
Good tackle.
Good tackle. McIntosh has picked up from where he left off in that first half. He's carrying an enormous amount of territory for a big ruckman, 11 touches.
Petrie getting a hand to it for the Kangaroos as we get back underway. They feed the ball out. Jared Brennan held when he didn't have it. That will be a free kick against Lee Brown.
Made sure that the umpire saw it too. Jared Brennan wasn't leaving anything to chance. He just got taken there, and rightful free kick.
Adcock is available. And a good lead being made here as well by Daniel Merritt. Marks in front of Corey Jones.
Just a very congested midfield ahead. Unfortunately, not too much space for anyone to lead into.
Called to play on. Looks for Jonathan Brown. He was being held by Ferrito. Couldn't get into the contest. And another strong mark is being taken by Hamish McIntosh.
And a good mark. He knew that Jonathan Brown was coming. And he usually hits pretty hard, Jonathan Brown, but that's good mark under pressure.
Corey Jones under pressure now. A free kick against Jed Adcock.
One of those that could have gone either way. A strong tackle from Adcock, but got the benefit of the doubt. Momentum taking him forward with Corey Jones.
Almost every player on the ground is in the quarter of the field at the moment.
Brady Rawlings takes the mark. Only one player behind him.
Who's initiating this? All the numbers behind the ball. Lynchy, is it the Lions or the Kangaroos or both?
Well, the Lions certainly work very hard forward and back, so they push players back behind the ball.
Brave mark taken by Adam Simpson. Kangaroos have number coming out with a strong mark is Lee Brown.
Well, this is the sort of start they needed to the third term.
And that's an outstanding result to have a contested mark with that many players around the ball. Brown just steams out. The ball dropped short.
Well, he was the only one on the move.
Yep.
Everyone else was body on body.
Kicked a goal in the first quarter, Lee Brown. Looking at his second, really should have done better.
And that's the sort of thing that comes back to haunt you, because the Brisbane Lions have been guilty themselves, but if the Kangaroos don't take those simple opportunities, you can be sure it'll cost them in the end. 2 balls on the field here.
And they won't play until that ball is removed from the ground. Surely the umpire hasn't seen the ball.
He hasn't seen it.
Poor kick out as well from Adcock, straight to Adam Simpson. To Hamish McIntosh. The ruckman stops. Fires it to the top of the goal square once more. Rising high, Drew Petrie couldn't control it. Umpire calling for the players to work it free.
Well, he can still see the footy, so he's happy to let play go on. There's a tremendous leaping there from Drew Petrie. He just climbed onto the top of the pack, nearly brought down the miraculous mark.
Here he is doing the ruck work against the rookie Cameron Wood. Copeland shrugs a tackle. Did it with strength. Goes to the half-back line. Not a lot on offer. He'll be happy to see it go over the line.
And she just worries you sometimes. Brisbane have pulled that many players back that when they do kick the ball out of defence, it's 1 or 2 against 5 or 6.
And it did happen a few times. We saw the classic example in the last quarter that Jason Rowe running through the midfield had no one to go to and got caught with the ball.
McIntosh got his hands to it first. Courageous work from Corey Jones. And then had some problems with Richard Hadley coming in over the top.
And in saying that, the Lions are well drilled to run out in numbers and support each other. So that is very important to support the ball carrier when there's no one forward of the ball.
Third man up, Daniel Wells thumps it forward, but straight to an opponent. Now an opportunity for Ashley McGrath. It's cleaned up by Sinclair. Ferrito goes wide. Shannon Watt, in fact it's Casey Green with his hands full. And now a free kick has been awarded to Lindsay Thomas.
He just got caught high by Luke Powell. It was there. And you just see, you watch the one arm come over the shoulder of Lindsay Thomas. That's high.
Jess Sinclair off and running. Coming out again, Lee Brown at the back of the pack. Again, a stalemate. Little over 3 minutes played here in the second half. Only 1 point added to the halftime score so far. A point for the Kangaroos. Here's Lee Brown slamming it onto the boot and adding another minor score.
Well, he's certainly putting himself in the right positions, Lee Brown, but a couple of chances there within the space of a couple of minutes has only reaped 2 points. And you just don't think that's enough for the Kangaroos. At some stage, the ball's going to get down the other end.
And what can hurt if the Lions do get a forward 50 entry, as it's called play on, Merritt in trouble.
Needs the support of Jed Adcock, who's got problems. Tackled by Lindsay Thomas, spills to Petrie, throws it onto the boot, but it's another minor score.
And for an extension of what I was saying, actually, the pressure comes on. If the Brisbane Lions can get a forward 50 entry themselves, it can be crushing if they can convert the goal, whereas the Kangaroos have had plenty of opportunities.
They're just not getting the reward for all the great effort, the Kangaroos, at the moment.
Copeland goes long, but it's cut out by Edwards.
And he's found the target. Well done.
Too.
Obviously, we're talking about Edwards, who has got his hands on a bit of a ball, just couldn't quite hold the marks or drag a free kick in that second quarter. But a nice mark and a beautiful pass.
They've taken the last 10 marks. Gee, they're using the interchange bench, the Kangaroos. Adam Simpson is off. Brent Harvey's come off as well. We see Harvey coming back on to replace Simpson. Grant coming on as well with Thomas going off. So ringing the changes, Dean Laidley.
Corey Jones kicked a goal in the first quarter. Gets under this one. A little off the money as well. And it's rushed through for a minor score. So 4 points for the Kangaroos here. Brisbane yet to add to their halftime tally.
Blood rule here against Jed Adcock. It's unfortunate for the Kangaroos because they've worked so hard, but to just have the meagre return of 4 behinds, it must be an incredible disappointment for Dean Laidley. He's seeing everything work that he wants to do. They're winning the ball. They've had it forward of centre virtually for the entire third quarter to date, which has gone for just on 7 minutes, but they haven't been able to get a goal, and they should have 3.
The Sapien one is like the Brown shot on goal from 30 metres out dead in front. You need those. The tough ones, the snapshots outside 50 are always going to be tough, but the hard work got to be capitalised on.
Copeland restarts to Daniel Merritt. In a confined space on the boundary line. He goes short as well and finds Chris Johnson. Now Luke Power trying to provide some run. Goes wide. Kangaroos leading the chase here. Shannon Watt hands over to Ferrito. Slow hand pass to Hamish McIntosh, and now Shannon Grant to Daniel Harris. Fixter closes him down, but not before he gets it back to Shannon Grant. A little too much on the pass. Coming over the top, Cheney Stiller couldn't control it. Simon Black does. Yes. Goes onwards now to Hadley, and here's Jonathan Brown. No one ahead of him. Shannon Watt closing. Jonathan Brown has overcorrected after missing his first 3 shots to the near side. He's pushed that one across the face.
And that probably would have made Dean Laidley jump out of the coach's box. You've peppered the goal at one end, and if they go straight up the other and kick a goal, it's a very bitter pill to swallow, but they've been let off by Jonathan Brown's inaccuracy. Tell you where they've been very good, the Kangaroos. The Lions, Lynchy, so they get numbers behind the ball, and then they do run it out because they haven't got anyone to kick to upfield, but they haven't been able to run it out. They've been forced into kicking by the incessant pressure of the Kangaroos' chasers.
Shannon Grant had only 5 disposals last week. Improved performance here, as you would expect. This is Andrew Swallow working hard. Spills free to Matt Campbell, who's been lively. Along the boundary line, brings it to the half-forward line. Corey Jones under pressure, couldn't control it. Good work from Jared Brennan as he wraps up Drew Petrie.
Took him high. Now, can someone kick straight? No.
Touched off the boot. And the Brisbane Lions will concede another minor score.
You could hear the umpire over his microphone call unlucky Jared.
Well, he does have the left arm resting on the shoulder. It wasn't aggressive, but it was there technically.
Chris Johnson does the honours and finds Simon Black. Sherman available, heads in that direction. Still not a lot on offer ahead of him.
Just a sea of players in every direction.
Goes laterally to Jason Rowe.
And it is good. The Kangaroos have pushed up pretty well one-on-one across the ground now.
Why do they go looking for Charman, reaching in over the back of an opponent, picked up by Luke Power, off and running by hand to Tim Notting. Dangerous. He works the ball into the centre corridor. Michael Ferrito there to clean up for the Kangaroos. It's a poor handball. Sold Josh Gibson into trouble. Notting wraps him up. Had plenty of time to dispose of the ball. And a minor score for the Brisbane Lions.
See, Jamie Charman was good on the outside, on the far side of the ground. It was a strong contest for the ball, and then put the body on the line with the shepherd, which released Luke Power.
I haven't seen a big man throw his body around the ground as much as him. His second and third efforts are very good.
Brennan in over the back of Drew Petrie. Now leads him a merry dance. Jonathan Brown wanted it at centre-half forward. Brennan goes back to Tim Notting. Charman's available, but Notting with a poor disposal. Hamish McIntosh is going to kick it straight back in his direction. Notting couldn't control it. Took out Corey Jones. Here's Daniel Wells. Skips past Johnson. Aaron Edwards taking on Joel Patford. Good use of the body from Patford. Needs to get it out. Harris can't find it at the moment. Goes for Corey Jones, and he can't control it before it trickles over the line.
And you knew what Tim Notting was trying to do at the other end of the ground. He saw Charman free just inside 50, tried to spear a low one in, but unfortunately it was too low, and it was a turnover.
Almost 10 minutes played, term number 3. No goals since half-time. Daniel Wells hooks it with the right foot to the top of the square. Jason Rowe is there to come out and try and defuse the situation for the Brisbane Lions. Needing to be careful here, Tim Notting dragged back inside by Drew Petrie, but the ball had gone over the line.
They're under some serious pressure at the moment, the Brisbane Lions. Mind you, both defences are when the ball goes forward, but just no one able to convert it into majors.
Charman taps the ball. Richatelli overran it. Here's Shannon Grant looking for Wells. He was pushed in the back by Jared Brennan. Free kick for Daniel Wells.
Yeah, I don't think he was say bad luck, Jared, on this occasion, the umpire, but he just had the hands in the back of Wells, and this is a very important one for the Kangaroos. Must convert this opportunity.
Well, you can't have all the play. At some stage, you've got to think the Lions are going to put pressure on them at the other end. So you just have to take some of the opportunities presented to you.
Well, heads will drop around the ground.
Kangaroos' best player last week against the Hawks. Kicked 2 goals against the Lions in the corresponding match last year. And Daniel Wells splits the centre for the Kangaroos.
Beautiful shot on goal. 35 metres out, slight angle. And from a free kick, wasn't a lot in it. Obviously a free kick though, but you just got to convert those opportunities. Went back, soaked up the pressure that was building on the Kangas to kick a goal and slogged it through. Important goal, important situation for the Lions. Must get this clearance and bounce back.
Runner-up in the Kangaroos' best and fairest last season, Daniel Wells. It's a goal for the 3rd straight match this season. They need more of that.
I don't know what it is, Case, but they've kicked 6 of their 7 goals at that end, and the Brisbane Lions 4 of their 5 at the same end. There's no breeze.
Working hard, but it's scooped up by Brady Rawlings. Back to the half-forward line where Patford comes from behind, but Aaron Edwards too strong. Grabs it, big mark, wants to go short and quickly. Corey Jones couldn't handle it. Well, he's dropped it.
Chestnut.
And the Brisbane Lions are looking to rebound. Working hard is Scott Harding, but he can't keep it alive.
They're just shooting themselves in the foot, the Kangaroos. That's a laydown. You look at this fantastic play. He's tried to make sure of it, and I think he was worried about the traffic coming towards him. Took his eye off the ball for a split second.
Lions go through Simon Black. Opens up into the middle of the ground. Sherman took his eye off the ball. Had enough time to retrieve it, though. Luke Power, quickly. Now running forward, Jason Rowe from the back line. Jonathan Brown wanted it. Jason Rowe went to the centre corridor. Ashley McGrath trying to work it to the advantage of a teammate. But the Kangaroos have numbers. An opportunity for Lee Brown here.
They've got a player free in their forward 50. If they can turn now, McIntosh and find him.
Corey Jones, can he make amends? Oh,
someone.
Couldn't handle it. Robert Copeland will clear for the Oh, nightmare for Corey Jones.
You know, both times it was just a little bit too high for a chest mark, but because of the greasy conditions, he didn't want to use the hands.
Just had to go with the hands.
Chris Johnson to the centre of the ground. Nice mark taken there by Richard Hadley, who has numbers out on the wing. Rissatelli. Now coming in as well is Scott Harding. Started on the bench, but has been impressive once on the field. Around the corner, here's Justin Sherman.
This could hurt.
Yeah, they'll get burnt here. 3 back on Jonathan Brown.
And going wide. An opportunity now for the Brisbane Lions.
Kangaroos are going to hold this one out. Rissatelli
goes from the boundary.
Oh, catch that.
To the top of the square, Jonathan Brown looming over the back, couldn't control it, big pack. Here's Ash McGrath, dangerous in this situation, hooks it over the shoulder, and the Lions come up with the goods.
You only imagine the frustration in the Kangaroos coaches box, because they should be 4 or 5 goals in front. They have blown opportunity after opportunity, and this is just a typical Ashley McGrath goal. If he's not getting on the lead, he'll pick up the ground level ball and snap truly, and that just hurts.
It's a half chance that the Kangaroos weren't getting at the other end.
Well, Ash McGrath has been good so far this season. He's kicked goals in each of the 4 games so far after playing only 11 matches last year, due largely to hamstring problems. Hamish McIntosh doing the ruck work for the Kangaroos was signalling to the bench. He is really under the pump at the moment.
They can't afford to get him off the ground at the moment. They've just got to be very good this next 1 or 2 minutes.
Finally, Drew Petrie comes up to give him a spell. He's gasping, the poor bloke, doing a mountain of work.
Lee Colbert on the boundary line.
Why you'd want to be an AFL coach. Dean Laidley, after 2 missed opportunities from Corey Jones, hands in on the head, unfortunately.
Here's Adam Simpson, the captain, trying to lead by example. He's been wrapped up in the tackle and penalised.
This could break the spine of the Kangaroos for tonight.
Matthew Moody with a left foot. Jonathan Brown reaches out and pulls in a strong mark under immense pressure.
Well, if he didn't take the mark, he probably would have got a free kick for a bit of jumper holding, but all you could see was as soon as the Lions won the ball, Luke Power demanded the handball quickly. He wasn't interested in pinpointing a pass. He just wanted to get it down there as quick as possible because he saw it was a one-on-one opportunity.
Now, for 10 minutes, Kangaroos have dominated possession and shots on goal. Missed some easy opportunities. Heads drop.
Can Jonathan Brown kick straight finally?
Now, it's only natural for a guy, and I've been in this position a lot of times where you've missed a few. You're thinking, I've just got to kick this. The pressure builds.
4 consecutive minor scores for Jonathan Brown. He's pushed it a little too far again.
That's exactly where he ran. He's having a horror.
Very unlike Jonathan Brown, who's a beautiful kick on goal. Eats those up every week.
But he ran right of the goalposts, and that's exactly where the ball went.
Just when the mind games get the yips.
Well, he's going to have some serious doubts running through his head every time he has a shot now.
Well, Shannon Watt went past Casey Green and gives the Lions an opportunity here. Luke Power trying to keep it alive in tandem with Matthew Moody.
You just want that next one in the goal square. You don't want it 45 out on a 45-degree angle.
Simon Black couldn't handle the ball. They try and work it free. Richard Hadley doing hard work, but without success. Little over 17 minutes played, term number 3. Umpire Kieran Nichols throws it in the air. Charman again trying to manhandle his opponent to Brady Rawlings. Slams it onto the boot, but the Lions have numbers here. In fact, Patbull may have spoiled his teammate on that occasion, Cheney Stiller. It is tough in close. Begley, remember the no-look hand pass. Got it to Matt Campbell. Well, the Lions will get out of trouble, momentarily at least. Chris Johnson up to greet the ball. Harassed from behind and in front.
He's been good, Pratt.
Free kick to the Kangaroos.
Yeah, they're very hot on that at the moment, the umpires. As soon as the tackle causes the ball to be released, if you don't let the player go, you get pinged.
Brady Rawlings over the top to Jess Sinclair. Good work from Simon Black, putting pressure on. Here's Ben Fixter in game number 50. Took on Sinclair and into trouble. Richard Hadley retreats to Jason Rowe. Looks up, heads in the Charman direction. He couldn't handle the chest mark. Rawlings scoops it up. Now it's Fixter crashing into his opponent, Blake Grimmer. Spinning out of trouble, Jed Adcock. Charman.
Pressure is hot in there.
Advantage is played. Wasn't a lot of advantage there for Colin Begley.
The intensity around the ball over that 30 seconds. Many tackles, a lot of pressure on.
Lions go to the centre of the ground. Robert Copeland couldn't handle it, but time to recover. Goes long. Jonathan Brown coming out, but cutting across in front of him. Captain's mark taken by Adam Simpson. Electing to go along the boundary line. Has numbers inboard, but Simpson reluctant to take the risk. Goes long. Jason Rowe over the back. Hadley wrapped up by Corey Jones. We have another stalemate. Less than 5 minutes to play, term number 3.
Just turning into a real slog now. It's whoever makes the most of these opportunities as they come along that's going to win the game.
Just 2 goals in 20 minutes since half-time.
Far from a free-flowing game tonight. There's a lot of numbers around each contest.
It doesn't look like opening up, and you wouldn't think one team's going to get a big run on from here on in.
Shannon Grant was being held in the contest, so he will pick up the free kick for the Kangaroos.
Just against Benny Fixter.
Needs to get into the game, Grant, after a good first quarter. Hasn't touched it too often.
Grant forced to go short. Nothing else on offer. Now they look to work the ball deep, but the Lions in best position here. Copeland really should have taken the mark. Went the punch. Here's Sherman. Getting good support from Simon Black, who needs to get it off quickly. Richard Hadley joins in. Now looks out a little wider. The pass intended for Ash McGrath. Charman got a hand on it. Deflected the ball, and now the Kangaroos have an opportunity. Shannon Grant works it up forward. Aaron Edwards is all alone, and he takes the mark.
He's worked himself into the game in this quarter.
He keeps presenting.
Aaron Edwards, and he'll back himself, I would think, here as a seasoned full forward. Got 100 goals under the belt to back himself here. The pockets aren't too deep, so there's a bit of space between those sticks, even though he's close to the boundary line.
100 goals for Frankston in the VFA, winning the Liston Trophy last season. Pushes that one across the face of goal. He's disappointed, and so he should be.
Well, if they lose this game, the Kangaroos, they will rue what might have been, because they've had too many gilt-edged opportunities to open up a decent break, some real breathing space against the Lions. That's not to say they won't win, but they're making life tough for themselves.
The misses have got to take its toll eventually.
Charman the target here. Petrie from behind. Knocks it down. Opportunity for Jess Sinclair. Worked around Tim Notting with ease. Another opportunity for the Kangaroos as Daniel Wells surveys his options.
And we saw him kick from probably a similar position. He wasn't as quite as an acute angle.
Well, I think he's better off having a shot for goal than trying to pinpoint anything inside 50. We see the inside 50s there, 12-7 in favour of the Kangaroos. If you can just manage to fashion a goal, it's like gold at the moment.
Kick the Kangaroos only goal 11 minutes ago. It's coming back, but not enough. That's a minor score.
Certainly bombarding the goals, bombarding the inside 50s, the Kangaroos.
1 goal, 6 for the quarter now, the Kangas.
That's the one. That's the one that is mentally sapping, though. They've worked hard. They couldn't work any harder. But eventually, the pressure will drop off because they're psychologically just smashed with missing the shots on goal.
Daniel Merritt getting the call from Charman, so he heads in that direction against the undersized Corey Jones. Charman takes the mark, playing his first game of the year. It's on with it quickly. Ferrito works to the front of Jonathan Brown, taken out by Luke Power as he kicks, and the ball is out of bounds on the full. Good pressure from Luke Power.
It's not a terrible result for Michael Frito either. He beat Brown to the ball. He's picked up 40 metres down the line. They've got a chance now to hold the Lions up.
Notting looks up. Good contest again from Drew Petrie. Working hard against Ben Fixter.
And there are some tired boys out there. It's been the nature of the game. They've been up and back, working from one end to the other constantly.
McIntosh back onto the ground for the Kangaroos. Charman goes at him. Wells couldn't handle it. Notting can. To Power. To Rischitelli. To Copeland. Back to Power. In a confined space was Cool. Charman. Inboard to Notting. Gets onto the left foot. Jonathan Brown available. Takes the mark 60 metres from goal. Turns down Sherman, who was available. Turns down Ash McGrath as well.
Brown wants it long. Look for the hover.
Jared Brennan in the goal square looming. One piece, two. Couldn't control it. And the ball is over the line.
He was calling it. Jared Brennan had the free run at the ball, and rarely these days up in that goal square do you get a free jump at it. Just couldn't hold the second chance.
90 seconds left, term number 3. Can the Lions snatch one? Fixter to Rischitelli. Works it to Notting, trying to work through a couple of defenders, took them on. Hard work from Adam Simpson. Rischitelli goes again. You have to like that.
It's been one of the conscious moves from Lee Matthews to move Jared Brennan to the forward line. He knows that they need goals just as desperately as the Kangaroos do, and no one's been able to kick them thus far. Maybe Jared Brennan can kick one or two. Josh Gibson's got the job on him.
Hamish McIntosh again gets a hand to it for the Kangaroos. Adam Simpson. Now Rischitelli.
Notting again.
Notting's got it. Fires toward goal. Opportunity for the Lions, but strong work coming across from the Kangaroos. And Michael Ferrito knocks it through for a minor score.
His 24 possessions for Tim Notting has been outstanding after only 3 touches, 2 handballs and 1 kick in the first quarter.
Shannon Watt going to be run down by Ash McGrath, has to get rid of it. Does so to Archer. His hand pass didn't do Adam Simpson any favours. Now it's Daniel Wells retreating a long way. Back to Jess Sinclair. Needs a kind bounce and got one. Onwards to Shannon Grant. He goes long to the wing, coming out to greet it. Andrew Swallow took it nicely. Off and running. Opportunity for the Kangaroos with 30 seconds to play, term number 3. But the Lions have numbers. They got in one another's way. An opportunity for Corey Jones. He scoops it up. Intelligent kick looking for Lee Brown. He couldn't control it.
Oh, boy.
Colin Begley takes the ball on the half-back line.
Lead it forward if you want.
He's going to have to be just encouraging Dean Laidley at 3-quarter time.
I was just thinking the same thing.
How do you approach it? I mean, the execution has been the problem with the skill. The decision-making's been fine. Their application's been great. Just cannot convert on the board.
Well, a war of attrition in the third quarter. Just 1 goal apiece. And the Kangaroos, who were 6-6 at halftime, added 1 goal 7 to 1 goal 4 from the Brisbane Lions. Some missed opportunities there, Jason.
Yeah, I think Lynchy hit the nail on the head. All Dean Laidley can do is say to the Kangaroos, look, it'll pay dividends if we keep this effort up. The Brisbane Lions, Lee Matthews, a similar message. It'll break for us. We've just got to push forward, and when we get an opportunity, we've got to kick the goal.
1 goal the difference with a quarter to play. Stay with us here on Saturday Night Football. Tough night at the office for Kangaroos coach Dean Laidley, but his team holds sway by 1 straight kick here as we go into the 4th term, but not before we get to Lee Colbert on the boundary line.
Danny Daly, the midfield coach. The boys have been great for 3 quarters, especially the pressure around the ball.
Yeah, look, we had a real focus on controlling, Black and Rischitelli around the stoppages, and the boys have done that really well. Not releasing their quarterback in Nottingham and Power and these sort of blokes, so we just got to make sure we could do that in the last quarter and win a fair share of footy around the ball and get it inside 50.
and the boys' legs. Plenty of rotations, as usual, for the Kangaroos tonight.
Yeah, we make a focus on making sure that we've always got a couple of guys who can come on and run the quarters out. Most of our midfielders have played about 60-65% of the game, so we can get Grant, Harvey, Wells, all those blokes through the last quarter, fresh legs. Hopefully it'll get us over the line.
Thanks very much, Danny. Have a great last quarter.
Good on you, mate.
Well, it could be a very important tactic if they've got a little bit of juice left in the legs of those experienced players, Grant, Wells, Harvey. They may be the ones that can steady the ship. They just need to find someone who can find a bit of composure under pressure and just finish off in front of goals. And it's pretty much the similar story, I think, for the Brisbane Lions. I mean, they both kicked 13 points.
It is the key stat tonight. Brisbane Lions in that first quarter really struggled, and certainly the Kangaroos in that third. Brent Harvey had no touches in that quarter. He'll be one player. They'll be looking to run out the game and really lift the youngsters of the Kangaroos. But that first shot on goal, they're going to feel the pressure. There's no doubt about that.
See what, seeing as the way that he's kicked the football tonight, Jonathan Brown has 0-5 to his name. I'd hate to see him lining up after the siren to kick the winner.
Well, Brisbane only came from behind at three-quarter time once last season to win a match. It was against the Kangaroos in round 15. They trailed by 13 and won by a point. Kangaroos gave up three-quarter time leads last season. Can they hang on for their first win of the year? Or are Brisbane going to break their hearts again? Great job from Hamish McIntosh, who's led the ruck in the absence of David Hale. Done a sterling job. And he's up against the rookie Cameron Wood as we get underway. Term number 4 from the Gold Coast Stadium, and Hamish McIntosh gets it out to the advantage of his captain. Simpson to Wells. Kangaroos off and running. Aaron Edwards on the lead, takes a strong mark.
Pathwell now playing in defence for Lions, started up forward.
Goes long. Mark coming up. Petrie couldn't control it off the ground. Opportunity now for McIntosh. Goes off the ground, and the big man's got some skills as he comes up with his first goal.
He's been outstanding, Hamish McIntosh. His work, his second efforts, he's had 19 touches, and this one was just nice bit of polish on the left slipper. He's flushed that straight through, and I think that's the best way for the Kangaroos to get a goal, really. They didn't need 120 metres out dead in front, a shot on goal. They've towed that one through, and that's a very handy start to the quarter for the Kangas.
First goal of the season for Hamish McIntosh. Taken number 9 in the draft in 2002. And a tremendous job tonight. Will he be the hero as we get back underway? Here's Simon Black running through the middle, dispossessed. Good work from Daniel Harris. Shannon Watt needs support. Goes laterally. Glenn Archer. Buying some real estate for the Kangaroos. Wells with safe hands. Back to Daniel Harris. Looks inboard. Brady Rawlings. Going long. Coming out on the lead again. Corey Jones couldn't hold on under pressure. Good defensive work from Adcock as he reels in Aaron Edwards as well. That's tremendous work in the back line.
Very good player, Jed Adcock. As we touched on a couple of times, youngster, had good closing speed to get a fist on it, and second effort with the tackle.
Luke Power couldn't find it. Daniel Harris.
Gee, it's been a terrific battle since quarter time too between Tim Notting and Daniel Wells.
Crowd of 11,133. Just outside the top 10 in crowds here at Carrara, so not a bad result for the Kangaroos. Similar numbers to what they drew 8 weeks ago for round 1 of the NAB Cup against Collingwood.
Oh, I think he bought that one, Simon Black, because that hit Casey Green pretty high, and the field umpire is going to make an executive decision, I think.
There's a good appeal from Simon Black.
Let's have a look at what part of the body that it actually comes off. The Simon Black kick goes into Casey Green. That's hit up above the knee. That's not out in the foot.
Well, the free kick is being played. Chris Johnson with it next.
It's got to be the shin or the foot to be an effective kick.
The knee doesn't count.
Cameron Wood spills the mark. Jared Brennan cleans up for him.
Great kick.
Nice work as he gets Jonathan Brown involved. The man's kicked 5 behind so far. Will he miss from here?
This is the soda he's been looking for, but that's also what Lee Matthews was looking for from Jared Brennan. Just that elusiveness, to be able to pull something out of the hat, and a clever little weighted kick into space that allowed Jonathan Brown to run back and mark 20 metres out directly in front. Had to fall over to miss it.
Came into the match with 9 goals, 3. The leading marksman for the Brisbane Lions. He's been wayward tonight, but when his team needs it most, Jonathan Brown has snuck it in by a millimetre.
That's the one he needed. And he could finish the quarter with 4, but he just needed that one. Good play, beautiful pass to Jonathan Brown from Jared Brennan, and he hasn't exactly flushed this one.
The goal umpire had a bit of work to do there, but we got it through in the end. Titans up once again.
Co-captain Jonathan Brown finally ices the goal. Number 201 in his career. He kicked 8 the last time he was at Carrara. 1 goal, 5 tonight, and just a straight kick separates these teams once more. Josh Gibson needs to be good here. Wrapped up by Chris Johnson in a great tackle. Brady Rawlings to Harris to Wells. Good run from the Kangaroos. Looking for the answering goal. Coming out on the lead. Couldn't grab it. Corey Jones under pressure from Adcock.
He's lost all confidence, Corey Jones. Even that one he went for the chest, Mark, with a player right up his ginger. He had to take it in the hands.
Wells dispossessed by Tim Notting. Arguably the Lions' best player tonight, and Chris Johnson with Jared Brennan in support. They work it to Power. Now Brennan again was looking for Jonathan Brown, shut down by Shannon Watt.
That's a missed opportunity for the Brisbane Lions. They had more numbers than the Kangaroos did, running into their attacking 50, and just couldn't clear Shannon Watt with the kick, Jared Brennan.
Sharman and Hamish McIntosh at it again. Comes to the back where Josh Gibson needs some support from Shannon Watt, and onwards they go. Left it behind Casey Green. Now he's got some problems as Cheney Stiller dispossesses him. Ash McGrath weaving, wheeling and dealing. Retreats to Richard Hadley. That's not 15. Simon Black dropped the ball. Now it's loose. Black goes back to work. They've left him alone with a non-preferred right foot. Swinging around, not far enough.
I think Casey Green will be breathing a sigh of relief. He had the ball spent. Turned it over because he was looking upfield to see what to do with it once he took possession. It's a night, the sort of night and conditions now where you need to play the percentages.
And as the game has gone on, you just see there's less numbers around each contest. Players are just losing that ability to get up and back. And it's just starting to open up a little.
Daniel Harris with it for the Kangaroos. Daniel Pratt is on short and takes the mark in front of Richard Hadley.
Back a metre, please, back a metre. He's fine there.
Ash McGrath with plenty of advice for Pratt as well. McIntosh will be the target. Jared Brennan looming. Knocked down by McIntosh. Now Simpson gets it onwards. Good speed from Matt Campbell. Lee Brown did a good job to pick that up, but so did Jason Rowe as he snatches the ball back for the Lions. Charman, multiple opponents to go with him here, and Daniel Harris cleans up to Brady Rawlings for the Kangaroos. He goes long. Drew Petrie, Corey Jones, the target. Jones couldn't hold on. Lions looking to clean up. And now they go again through Stiller. Hand pass wasn't a good one for Sherman, and he's held. Lucky not to be called for holding the ball.
It is very tight at the moment. What about that interception from Jason Rowe? That was extremely important. It was a tremendous hand pass from Lee Brown, but Rowe getting back in time to nip in between. The game of inches now.
Over the top, Richard Hadley, but only as far as Lee Brown. He's dispossessed by Chris Johnson. Hadley again to Jason Rowe. Jonathan Brown leads the charge against Ferrito. They've got meters on everyone else. Jonathan Brown works to the front. Ferrito stays with it, looking for Shannon Watt's support. Good teamwork from the Kangaroos as they outnumber the Brisbane Lions co-captain, but they're still on the retreat. Joining in Daniel Pratt. Archer's available. He heads in that direction. Archer wants to use the corridor. Josh Gibson is available, hits him on the chest. He's off and running. Goes long. Lee Brown takes a mark.
He's in range with a good kick.
Jamie, in front.
40-degree angle.
For some reason, has been the tough end to kick goals at tonight.
Yeah, you can come as far out as you want. Just don't go forward.
Kicked a goal in the first quarter for the Kangaroos. Goes from the 50. Gets it across the face of goal. And a minor score for the Kangaroos.
Tough shot. Just pushed it across the front. But the Kangaroos, they need a shot from dead in front at the moment. The way their set shot conversion's going.
Jason Rowe given the hurry up. Goes long. Charman, the target.
Good punch.
Spoil from Lee Brown, only as far as Stiller. Now they have an opportunity. Simon Black looking for Brennan. Coming over the back, Josh Gibson with a strong fist for the Kangaroos.
And you can see Brisbane Lions, when they win the ball at half-back, they want to do what they did against Hawthorn in round 1, St Kilda in round 2. They ran the ball, linking up with hand passes. They haven't been able to do that tonight because the Kangaroos' pressure has been too intense.
Charman gets a hand to it again. It's again out of bounds. Almost 10 minutes played here in the final term. Kangaroos clinging to a 6-point lead. That's where we started this term as Petrie works to the front. Scooped up by Daniel Wells with speed. Now some problems confront him in the form of Riccitelli, and we need another throw-in. Kangaroos with a tenuous grip on this match at the moment. Well and truly up for grabs as Daniel Harris works through traffic.
In a dangerous area.
Josh Gibson coming hard for the Kangaroos. Luke Power for the Brisbane Lions. And the Kangaroos get the better of it. Casey Green goes long. Aaron Edwards looming against Joel Patfull. Patfull happy to escort it to the boundary line.
As the Lions rotate their interchange, Richard Hadley coming off for a spell and replaced by Matthew Moody.
Brady Rawlings and Simon Black doing the rucking duties on that occasion. And a holding the ball decision has been made against Copeland as the Kangaroos come to full forward. Opportunity, unable to reel it in on that occasion. Aaron Edwards getting back. Shaney Stiller looks for the sanctuary of the boundary line with an intelligent kick.
And smart play to get it out over the line there. Dangerous situation, 2-on-2 contest at the top of the goal square. Quick ball movement, put a lot of pressure under the Lions' defence.
1 goal, 1 apiece since three-quarter time as Sharman again knocks it to the advantage of his team, and Adam Simpson happy to escort it over the line.
Just at every stoppage, the number of players with hands on their hips, it is driving them to the edge of exhaustion tonight.
Ain't Sharman tapping it, but only as far as Brent Harvey. Works it back into the forward line for the Kangaroos. Coming out, Blake Grimmer.
It was Harvey's first touch since the second quarter of this game. It's just been a little bit quiet. He'll be looking for his fresh legs in the last quarter.
Simpson knocks it forward. Here's Grimmer, first game for the season. And Sherman takes a relieving mark for the Brisbane Lions. Only 2 players in Brisbane's attacking half of the ground at the moment. Sharman working against Petrie. Johnson fending off a couple. Nice skills coming from Adam Simpson. Taken out by Riccitelli as he gets the kick. Joel Patfull coming in strongly. In fact, it's Aaron Edwards taking out Justin Sherman.
Well, Edwards is claiming that he had his eyes on the ball trying to mark it, but he lost it at the last moment as he comes barreling through and just collected Patfull. It's a tough one to be standing underneath.
Justin Sherman actually it was, and he's very sore at the moment. Decent old knee to the ribs.
Being good, Sherman, 18 disposals. This is Riccitelli under pressure.
Once again, the intensity of the Kangaroos, the pressure, the ability to get a spoil on, just giving the Lions no space whatsoever.
And Lee Colbert told us before, plenty of dew on the ground, the ball getting very slippery.
This is Sinclair getting it away just in time, and the mark has been taken by Lee Brown.
Well, this now becomes an extremely big kick. Anything more than a 2-goal margin is just about a match-winning lead at this stage. This would give them the 2-goal margin.
Set shots, especially at this end, have been very hard to convert.
And he hasn't kicked particularly well either, Lee Brown. 1 goal, 2 to his name.
A few doubts going through the mind. Knows the importance of it.
Goal kicker in the first quarter. Looks good off the boot. Splits the centre for the Kangaroos. And they now enjoy its 12-point buffer.
And that is a very big margin in the way this game is being played. And also Lee Colbert told us another important thing at the start of the game. It was 23 degrees at the start of the game. Very hot and humid conditions. And the way this game is being played, one-on-one contest, plenty of numbers around the ball. Guys are very weary, and it'll be a tough last stanza of this game.
Well, only 5 goals have been kicked in the second half here at Carrara. The Kangaroos have 3 of them, including goals to Lee Brown and Hamish McIntosh here in the final term. A 2-goal margin. We've played almost 15 minutes, and an upset looms for the Kangaroos. Casey Green taken out of it. Brennan off and running. In a confined space, just shrugs a tackle, goes short, looks for McGrath. Couldn't find him. Now Jonathan Brown. The wide turning circle. Black is being busy. And he multiple goal kicker for the Brisbane Lions and couldn't get enough on that.
Some real desperation for the Kangaroos. They've smothered a number of kicks at the Brisbane Lions going forward, giving it absolutely everything.
Drew Petrie uncontested in the ruck contest. Kicks it high. Chris Johnson in the best place though and takes a strong mark.
We just saw a shot a moment ago.
A kick away. Chris Johnson, has he?
No.
Just a warning.
Well, Chris Johnson off and running, looking for McGrath, who comes out and takes a strong mark.
Well, I was about to say, we just saw a shot of Dean Lady in the box, and he was on the edge of his seat. He knows that his players have given their all. They've worked their guts out, and they're probably deserving of a win, but it doesn't necessarily gain you that victory. And
Chris Johnson here.
That was brilliant play, wasn't it? I mean, if McGrath kicks this, the nerves will set in again for the Kangaroos.
Kicked a goal in the third quarter. Ash McGrath. Lions need this. He likes it. The fans behind like it as well. The Brisbane Lions aren't done with just yet.
That was good work. Chrissy Johnson, beautiful pass through the ball. We've seen over many years he used to kick out for the Brisbane Lions. He drags the ball to his left, often low and very powerful passes, and just found Ash McGrath. Although a small forward, leads extremely well at the ball, and that is a very important conversion for Ash McGrath and the Brisbane Lions.
Well, for the third time in 4 games this season, McGrath, multiple goal kicker for the Brisbane Lions. Jonathan Brown into the middle.
Well, he's got a tag-later midfielder. We're going to find out exactly how good it is because he's just wandered into the midfield and he'll be looking to get some strong body over the ball, get some clearances out of the middle.
Jarman knocks it down to Jonathan Brown. An important touch to Luke Power. McGrath nudged out of it by Glenn Archer. Trying to work a free kick. Michael Risatelli grabs Archer. Kangaroos under pressure. Ferrito needs to be quick. Works it out. An opportunity now for the Lions. Strong work coming across there by Justin Sherman. Jarman joins in. He looks for an option. Jonathan Brown couldn't mark it under pressure. That's excellent work by the rookie Matt Campbell off and running. Looks to go long. Lee Brown comes out. Couldn't handle it. Well, a free kick has been awarded to Corey Jones. The advantage is played. Lee Brown marches into an open goal. The Kangaroos extend their lead.
Once again, very good attack on the ball. And a free kick
to the Kangaroos, but Lee Brown played on, converted the opportunity, and once again out to that 12 points, big margin. Jonathan Brown will stay forward at this centre bounce.
Good decision by the umpire. It wasn't against Daniel Merritt, whose legs collected the head of the player. It was against Jed Adcock, who pushed the Kangaroos player into Daniel Merritt.
Jarman and McIntosh at it again. Joining in, Shannon Grant gets the Kangaroos to the half-forward line. Good work from Brent Harvey coming across for the Kangaroos, but running out of room. He escorts it over the line. A little over 19 minutes played in the final quarter.
In the context of the match, you would think that if the Kangaroos could kick the next one, it might be enough. Brisbane Lions have to get the next goal to stay in this game.
Sherman retreats. Cheney still a run down by Corey Jones. Incorrect disposal. The Kangaroos will go forward once more.
And 50 metres, that hurts. Well, the goal's been very tough to convert tonight. To get 50-metre penalty, just gets a shot on goal.
Well, it's gone against Colin Begley, who just didn't give the ball back in the correct fashion, and the free kick's landed in the hands of Corey Jones, who hasn't had a particularly spectacular night. Corey Jones, just the 8 possessions. He dropped a couple of chest marks in that third quarter that could have resulted in goals for the Kangaroos, but he's got an opportunity to atone here. A straight kick would be invaluable.
And Corey Jones kicked a goal in the first quarter from a free kick.
And Begley comes from the ground, fixed it back on.
And the Kangaroos with a sniff of victory. He's tugged it and missed what he should have made, Corey Jones.
When you're having a dirty night, it tends to look at Lee. Yeah. Poor old Dean Lady has sat there and watched his team just fritter away opportunity after opportunity. He can't believe that they haven't got this game passed it up.
Jason Rowe goes long.
Good roost.
Looking for Charman. The front of the pack. Couldn't handle it. Loose ball. Knocked onwards with the assistance of Moody. Now it's McGrath. Good work from Daniel Wells with a handball. Missed its mark. And having to retreat to get it, Daniel Pratt wants to go even further into the defensive 50. Harris working around Rishatelli. Did a good job to reel him in.
Good tackle, Rishatelli again.
Harris again.
Oh, gone.
Corralled by Brennan. Goes again. That's good work from Andrew Swallow. And hooking around the corner, Corey Jones. Fist over the back coming from Copeland, and now they work it to the wing and Tim Notting. Disposal number 27 coming up, the most in the match.
They've got to make something happen pretty quickly, the Lions. And that wasn't it.
Rishatelli to Sherman. Well, they're being a little untidy here, the Brisbane Lions, and they might pay the penalty. They've got numbers around the ball. Fixter working hard. Brennan outnumbered here. Tries to make a contest. Good work on that occasion from Josh Gibson to Harris. Slow handball. Going backwards to Pratt. And now it's Shannon Watt, who works to the other side of the ground. Interesting pass. Opportunity for Ash McGrath. Takes one high. Can't get a free kick. Tucked in on the boundary line. Wants to retreat. Good defensive pressure from the Kangaroos. And they will get out of jail on this occasion.
Gee, that was a lazy snap for goal, wasn't it?
It was a lazy snap for goal. And another player just totally worn out. But if the Lions are going to be a chance to take this game, they've got to make the most of those opportunities.
A little over 5 minutes remaining. The Kangaroos clinging to a 13-point lead. Daniel Pratt works it to the eastern side of the Gold Coast Stadium, where the full forward Lee Brown is a long way from home. Cutting across, it's Matthew Moody. Late inclusion after the withdrawal of Nigel Lappin into the centre of the ground. Good work from Scott Harding. Gets it on. Here's an opportunity for Charman. Needs to be brave and was. Daniel Pratt bearing down on him. And the big man takes a strong mark.
And the Kangaroos continue to give the Lions a sniff. They keep turning it over when they're looking to shut the game down. They'd love to just chip it around and run down a couple of minutes on the clock because goals have been so hard to come by. It's not going to be a particularly long quarter. Boy, can Jamie Charman summon the energy to kick one from just outside 50.
It's right on his range.
Kicked a goal against the Kangaroos round 15 last year. The last time they played. His first game of the season, Charman gets under it. Hasn't got the legs. Brennan almost. McGrath with an opportunity shut down by Glenn Archer.
It's probably a better result for Brisbane that they get a ball up there rather than kicking it behind. Because kicking it behind isn't going to help them at this particular point in time. Gives possession back to the Kangaroos. Here they had a chance to get the goal they need.
Kangaroos trying to work the ball out of defence. Archer hoiks it as far as he can. Notting dropped a chest mark. Shannon Grant available for the Kangaroos, off and running. Goes deep. Petrie comes out to greet it. Couldn't half volley it, but his second attempt was a good one. Now he's got some problems. Works it forward. Good body work from Daniel Merritt against Matt Campbell. Staying with it. Merritt needs help. Kangaroos with numbers. Shannon Grant scooped it up brilliantly, but was shut down by Fixter. But it's inside their forward 50. And we are less than 4 minutes to play here. Let's go down to the boundary line with Lee Colbert.
Both teams are out on their feet. The Kangaroos are just trying to scrap and scrape a win here, while the Lions, they're just pressing all the time. Big time footy here, 4 minutes to go.
For the fans on the Gold Coast, what a match they've had as Simpson goes long to the goal square for the Kangaroos. Lions cannot afford to concede another goal here. It would be almost all over for them.
Just about is. And look at that man, Tim Notting, who's racked up 29 touches, but just a little spilt chest mark just outside 50 would have been within his range. Just an important drop.
Petrie getting hands to it. Casey Green at the bottom of the pack.
Gee, there wasn't a lot of joy a moment ago in the Brisbane box either. Lee Matthews looked pretty worried. Justin Lepich in the background.
Last roll of the dice now for the Lions. Must score on this push forward.
A little over 3 minutes to play. They come to the western side. Brennan couldn't handle it. Brent Harvey grabs it for the Kangaroos. Josh Gibson dropped it. Now an opportunity for the Lions as Brennan goes to Luke Power. Run down by Matt Campbell. Gets it to Jonathan Brown against Ferrito. Coming back with a flight of the ball was Daniel Pratt.
Must get the ball quickly to Brown because he's got space for players to run into.
Patfill on the far side running into space if he can get it long.
Queuing up in the middle of the ground. Jonathan Brown heads in that direction. Says Copeland. Stops and pops it over the top. Time running out for Brisbane. They need to move it quickly. They go to the goal square. Looming is the rookie Cameron Wood. Couldn't hold on, and it's rushed over the line by the Kangaroos. And what a match Hamish McIntosh has played.
Don't think that's a particularly clever kick when you know you need a goal. Kicking it to inside the 10-metre square, too easy for rush behind. You're better off dropping it another 10 metres short and at least putting it somewhere where when it hits the deck, another contest is possible to actually kick a goal from.
2.5 minutes to play. 2 straight kicks separating these teams.
Now Brisbane have to man up because they will. You can see Brent Harvey holding the ball up.
Wells available.
They'll try and chip it around.
Barely the 15.
Jared Brown's got to go back to the goal square and man up.
They let Brent Harvey alone. Tim Notting, just no petrol left in the tank.
Well, they'll kick it backwards if no one picks up Daniel Pratt.
It must pressure. Cause a turnover.
Less than 2 minutes remain. Contest at centre wing. Petrie climbing high. Ben Fixter playing his 50th game in the AFL. Shut down by 3 Kangaroos. They're looking like winners now.
Well, they've been outstanding really tonight. I mean, the execution of the shots on goal has been very disappointing, but the way they've gone about, the intensity, the discipline to go one-on-one has been outstanding.
Simon Black working hard. They move it onwards. Here's Fixter. Running his measure, going long. Jared Brennan at the back. In a good position. Can't hold on under pressure from Josh Gibson. And that could be the last roll of the dice.
Oh, look at the tension in the Kangaroos box. Dean Lowley saying, hold it, slow it down, get possession, just run the clock down.
Cameron Wood over the top, getting the tap, but Glenn Archer is there to clean up for the Kangaroos, and he goes as far and as wide as he can. Daniel Wells with leg speed against Michael Riccitelli. Jess Sinclair presents himself. Over the top will take the mark.
Happy to hold it up. Look for the short pass if he can find a spare player to chip the ball to.
It's been good Wells. 26 disposals.
Corey Jones couldn't hold on. Chris Johnson with an opportunity for the Lions. Looking for Riccitelli. Had to be brave. Shannon Watt came strongly the other way. Here's Ferrito. Going to be run down. And will take it back.
We'll suit the Kangaroos again. They can ice it from here.
Yeah, that's it from here.
Gee, look at the glum faces in the Brisbane box. An opportunity to go 3-1, the Lions.
And 3-1, put them up there in the top 4. Outstanding start to the season. But just to drop this one will be very disappointing.
Michael Ferrito going for distance, as you would expect. Petrie is trying to help it onwards. Hamish McIntosh, has he covered some territory tonight?
20 possessions for the big fella, 18 hit-outs. He's also kicked a goal, and a very important goal to start off the final quarter.
He's been a match winner for them. Brent Harvey to Daniel Wells, who hoiks it deep, looking for Petrie to take a mark. Jason Rowe at the back with the spoil. Here's Jess Sinclair, has put the icing on a very rich cake for the Kangaroos as they nail another.
Well, this is a great result for the Kangaroos. They've come up against a team that's been playing some very good football. There's been an enormous amount of pressure around the club, all the stuff that you don't want to know about as a player, but a lot of pressures off the field, and they've played extremely well and managed to isolate with a few good goals in this last quarter. I think the stay on the Gold Coast will be very nice rest tonight before they head back to Melbourne.
Well, Jess Sinclair had 19 touches last week. Just his second goal of the season. And it is going to be enough to get the Kangaroos over the line. Tremendous contest here on the Gold Coast. Lions continue to work hard. Maybe some more icing here for Daniel Wells, who shoots from 45. Has snuck it through on the siren. And for the first time since August last year, the Kangaroos will get to sing the song. They snap a 7-game losing streak with an impressive victory over the Brisbane Lions by 24 points.
And I think in the end, the margin's probably reflective of the effort that the Kangaroos put in. They deserved this win tonight, no doubt about that. They should have put it beyond doubt a lot earlier than they actually did. It took to the dying minutes, but inaccuracy in front of goal cost them dearly throughout the course of the match, but fortunately it didn't come back to haunt them.
Well, let's get down to Lee Colbert. The Kangaroos can celebrate.
Got a very happy Adam Simpson. Gutsy win, mate, for the club.
Yeah, look, we really fought hard. The self-doubts are coming back there, but we haven't won a game for so long. It just feels fantastic.
And the pressure, the tackles, everything was on. It seemed to be on all night tonight.
Oh, look, it was do or die for us tonight. It was pretty much the grand final, round 4, so we just had to pull out all stops, and in front of this crowd, it's a fantastic win. And all the people back in Melbourne, it's just been great.
And your own form, mate. Big effort on the wing there in the last quarter. Tackle on Sherman resulted in a goal. You're out on your feet now.
Yeah, I'm pretty buggered. A bit slippery up here. It's the humidity, but yeah, look, everyone just put in and had a crack tonight.
Enjoy the win and get back with the way.
And Adam Simpson, as Colby said there, 26 touches, one of the very good leaders for the club. It would have been demoralising for the club to lose after such a very disappointing third quarter, and great effort for 4 quarters. But they've done a good job, and don't know what Colby was going on about there, but they're pretty happy, the Kangas boys.
And so they should be their best final quarter of the year, their first victory of the season. And the Brisbane Lions have some work to do. Full-time here at Carrara. And the Kangaroos have won it by 24 points. We'll be back with Jason Dunstall and Alistair Lynch to wrap it up right after this.
24 points was the final margin at Carrara. The Kangaroos, a deserved victory, their first of the 2007 season. They led at every change, although it did get very, very tight, and it was only the last few minutes of the game that they were actually able to break away. But fittingly enough, they got the job done. So much effort put into it, and Alistair Lynch, as we look at the stats, you wouldn't expect there to be too much difference, although clearances, the Kangaroos were tremendous.
Yeah, the clearances went the Kangaroos' way in the first and last quarters, and contested possessions were well up for the Kangaroos. So I think they're two spots that they would have focused on before the game, and they've come out on top.
You can imagine the sense of relief for the players and coaches alike for the Kangaroos. Let's head straight down to the rooms, and Lee Colbert with Dean Laidley.
A very happy Dean Laidley. Well done. Congratulations on the win.
Oh, look, it was a great win. It's fantastic for the boys. They got some reward for their work tonight, and I still thought at stages we were trying to lose the game again. You know, Lee Brown missing goals and Corey Jones missing goals and marks, and look, we can't expand that type of energy, you know, every week and expect to be given chances like we did tonight. So, look, I'm really wrapped for the boys, and look, I'm wrapped for my wife and kids at home. It's been a pretty tough month.
I'm sure it has. All the players stood up tonight, the leaders especially, but right across the board, everyone just put in 100%.
Yeah, look, I thought McIntosh was enormous tonight. I thought Wells, Swallow with his job on Stiller was very good. And look, Blake Grimmer probably had 40% game time and had 8 touches, but his touches were quality. From his 8 touches, we got 16 touches. So, look, I'm really happy to have him in the side, and I thought Matt Campbell was pretty good tonight too.
Dean, Jason Dunsley, congratulations on the victory. They talk about landmark wins or significant wins that can turn a season around. After so much has happened off field, this must be the sort of thing you think, well, maybe, just maybe, there's light at the end of the tunnel. We can turn it around pretty quickly. Yeah, look, Jason, and look, we've been playing reasonable footy, but we've been shooting ourselves in the foot. And look, you know, at stages we did that again tonight, but to their credit tonight, they really steeled themselves, and look, we've been in a position to win all of our games, but look, tonight they got over the line, which is great for our supporters back in Melbourne. We really appreciate you know, the month they've been through themselves, and certainly it's a great opportunity up here for us to for the game of AFL footy. We're the AFL's vehicle, and we must continue to promote the game here in South East Queensland.
Dean, Alistair Lynch, you must be really proud of the guys. I mean, they've been competitive in most games, but the way they've taken on the one-on-one contest today, around the clearances, they were fantastic in the contested possessions.
Yeah, they were. I thought Simpson and Harris and Swallow and Grimmer and Grant, you know, it was Shannon Grant's best game for the year. You know, we were really tough in the clinches tonight, but, you know, we were able to change that contested footy into uncontested chains, and that was pleasing.
All the very best, and look forward to the next week.
No worries. Thanks, guys.
Dean Laidley, coach of the Kangaroos, and you can only imagine the sense of relief he must be feeling after watching opportunity after opportunity go passing by.
You can sense there was a lot of stress that's built up over the week. It's been a very tough time for everyone to do that's got something to do with the Kangaroos, and certainly Dean Laidley.
All right, another match in progress tonight at Amy Stadium. It's the Adelaide Crows and the Sydney Swans. This is deep into the fourth quarter, and things going well for the home side at the moment. The Crows, 9-6-60, an 18-point margin over an inaccurate Sydney Swans, 5 goals, 12-42. So it looks like Adelaide might get the victory there. That just about wraps things up here. For the Kangaroos, well, their first of 10 matches over the next 3 years that they'll be playing here at Carrara. It was a sweet taste of success. They'll be hoping to turn this into a home away from home where they can just start to get something going for a club that's been in such turmoil in recent times. At the end of the night, it was a 24-point margin to the Kangaroos. They go to 1-3. The Lions to 2-2. From all of us here at Carrara for now, it's good night.